imetuinua kibiashara, kimaisha na mambo mengi.
Are you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections.
Remember that where there was fire, ashes remain.
Yes, but she's in love with someone else.
With whom you forced her to get married.
You're a murderer. My father died and it was all your fault.
I didn't kill your father. You're crazy.
I am not crazy.
Move away.
He's your son. Don't you treat him like that. I will protect you.
You know that I'll ruin you if I open my mouth.
Our dad ordered you to leave him, but you're rolling in the hay with him.
Just leave us alone. You know you never change.
I'm sure that their love won't last too long. It's
Leave me.
Good morning, you're just in time for Good Morning Kenya right here on KBC Channel 1, being the 21st of April 2022, and I'm Regina Manyara. As we speak, the day is inching closer to the deadline for parties to conduct primaries and have their aspirants listed. Remember, they only become candidates after they have been certified by IEBC. And talking about IEBC, yesterday it confirmed that it has no powers to bar candidates facing graft and other cases from seeking elective positions in August. So who is the final gatekeeper when it comes to matters of integrity as we head to the August 9th polls? It might be a rhetoric, because if IEBC has no mandate and the courts too have allowed it, then your guess is as good as mine. Now we have that and so much more, including updates in as far as business matters are concerned, as well as sports. And talking about sports, well, for soccer lovers, you know what happened yesterday evening when Arsenal was squaring it out with Chelsea. On the social media platforms, well, Arsenal walifanyia Chelsea ile kitu. But hey, who are we? Over the weekend, we are going to be having a match also between Manchester United and Arsenal, and that's where we come in. Good morning once again. We welcome your feedback. Thursday is the new Friday. You can get us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1, and my Twitter handle is at Ray Manyara. Jane.
Ati wamefanya nini? Just repeat it as you said.
Wamefanya ile kitu.
Wamefanya ile kitu? You woke up and chose violence. It is okay. It is well. Good morning.
Morning to you. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good morning, Doreen. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Mko fiti barida?
Tuko shwari kabisa.
Freshi barida.
Mkofiti barida. Welcome to the program. I am Jane Wamboi. As always, we are glad that you have chosen to start your morning with us right here on Good Morning Kenya. We'd love to know where you're watching us from, so feel free to check in on our various communication platforms. On Twitter, the official hashtag ever remains to be at Good Morning Kenya, and that's the handle. The official hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. Station handle is at KBC Channel 1. Mike.
Yes, good morning. Thank
Good
you so
morning.
much. Actually, before we continue, let me first say, thank you so much for welcoming me. You guys are, giving me such a warm welcome. You're very welcoming.
Aww.
Especially Ray. So thank you for that.
Say what? Say what?
So thank you for that. Like we said earlier on, Thursday is indeed the new Friday. We've got a lot of things lined up for you in terms of entertainment and, of course, interesting interviews. So stay tuned for that. Doreen?
Well, and speaking of the party primaries coming to an end, that is actually tomorrow, whereby all nominations need to have come to an end. But even as that is happening, the Nairobi gubernatorial race is getting tighter. This is after Polycarp Igathe got into the race, and this is also coming at a time where Azimio One Kenya is supposed to release that list. So who really is it going to be, and what exactly are they looking at, given the fact that a good number of also Nairobi residents have been just complaining here and there concerning that issue of a particular person being brought on board at a time such as this. So that is part of also what we are waiting for, even as those nominations get to come to an end tomorrow. That and so much more is what we have lined up for you. And just as Mike said, today is a Thursday, so clearly it matters entertainment all the way. And we have so much in store for you in respect to that. So stay tuned up until the end of the show. I'm Doreen Arange Okello. Welcome to the program. Pray. Yeah, I saw something quite doing rounds on social media, and I'd want to bring it to the fore for this discussion, given that we're talking about matters entertainment after news. And this has to do with the meme password. Password. By the time I actually got to understand what password is all about, I'd missed it. Mike, would you know what I'm talking about?
Please enlighten me.
Can I tell you what it's all about?
Kindly, Doreen, fill in Mike before we talk matters news.
So nominations were happening down there in Nyanza part of the country. And you know that the ODM decided that they're not going to use ballot papers anymore. They are going digital. So they're using the tablet. So it simply means that you have to click on your preferred candidate. And in this particular constituency, the tablets were there, the clerks were there, the POs were there, but the only thing missing was the password. And residents and Kenyans were already lined up from as early as 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. This is around 10:30, almost 11, and still the only thing missing was the password. And Kenyans were wondering, what is this password coming with that from 5:30 haijafika bado? So?
And the hype was around how that guy was saying it when you're in the background.
Expression.
Yeah.
The hype was
Password!
Well.
So yeah, so that's where the hype of the password is coming from.
Then I saw a clip of the guy who was whispering at the background, password. Sema password ilienda.
Password haijafika bado.
Password.
Okay, good morning. You can be part of this banter. You can get us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. Now we start off with those stories that have been making headlines in the last 24 hours. And it is a strong message from President Uhuru Kenyatta, asking leaders to stop politicking and provide solutions to problems that are being faced by the citizens. Now, he was speaking in Mombasa when he officially opened the Kenya Secondary School Heads Association annual conference. President said it was hypocritical for leaders elected and mandated to cater for the interests of citizens to turn around and lament in every forum about the same problems.
The president was the chief guest at the official opening of the 45th Kenya Secondary School Heads Association annual conference, where he took issue with politicians who, instead of fulfilling their mandate in serving the people, opt to feign helplessness.
This country needs problem solvers, not problem talkers. unalia. Sasa mwananchi anakuangalia na sasa sasa unataka mimi nifanye namna gani? Unataka mimi nifanye namna gani? We need people who are willing and committed to providing solutions because problems will never end. Utalala leo ukifikiri umesuluhisha ya jana, uamuke upate ingine mbele yako.
The president further reiterated his government's commitment to adequately fund the education sector to ensure learners get quality education to secure the country's future.
Recognizing the centrality of teachers in raising education quality, we have also invested in a robust teacher training program and provided the budgetary allocation for teachers, raising it from Kenya shillings 116.4 billion in 2013 to Kenya shillings 288.6 billion in the current financial year.
Sentiments echoed by Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha.
This year, we have a budget of 544 billion Kenya shilling. That is 25.9%. And if you wouldn't afraid to say that it is the first. I know the South African one, I know the Nigerian one, I know the Ugandan one. It is the first. And so, what is left for us who have the ability now to do the budget is to ensure that we get more from the budget.
The week-long conference will end on Friday. From Mombasa County, I am Ann Mburu.
Well, that's the president speaking, asking leaders to stop politicking and provide solutions for the problems that are facing the Kenyan citizenry. Crossing over to matter security, detectives from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations in Juja, Kiambu County, have arrested 7 suspects in connection with the murder of a 23-year-old student on Tuesday night. Now, from the 7, the police revealed that they have narrowed down to 2 prime suspects who they say will face murder charges at the Thika Law Courts today. This even as the university students staged a protest at the Juja Sub-County security officers where they demanded a statement from the police on the measures they have taken so far, not only in arresting the killers but also on improving security in the learning institutions.
The killing of a student at Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology last night has sparked protests from fellow students who held demonstration at Juja Sub-County security offices demanding for justice. Joel Juma, a fourth-year industrial chemistry student, is reported to have been out of the house in the company of his girlfriend and was allegedly on a mission to get some revision materials from his classmate a few blocks away when the two were attacked, leaving him for the dead.
DCI came around 2 a.m. They had to take Joe to a dispensary where they pronounced him dead.
ACT students marched to Juja Sub-County security offices and demanded assurance of their security in the university.
Gate B has had these incidences every year.
Even the same day, there was also some student who was snatched some phone and some gadgets. On the same very day, Joe was stabbed.
So we need security. Tunafaa tushughulikie kwa sababu hatukutoka nyumbani kukuja pa kuuliwa na kunyang'anywa vitu.
Juja Sub-County DCIO boss Richard Mwaura revealed that 7 suspects have been arrested in connection with the incident.
After thorough interrogation, we have established that 2 of the suspects we are holding are the ones who are involved in this heinous act.
His sentiments were echoed by Juja Deputy County Commissioner Charles Mreithi.
We have already set a meeting with the university leadership, the administration, the student leadership today in the afternoon. We are going to meet to deliberate more on this matter.
According to the police, 2 prime suspects will face murder charges at Thika Law Courts tomorrow.
We'll be keeping tabs on that, given that, students also required to be safe in these learning institutions. To the corridors of justice, aspirants who lost in the party primaries now have 10 days to be cleared to contest as independent candidates. The High Court on Wednesday declined to invalidate the Political Parties Amendment Act of 2022, terming it legal and constitutional. The three-judge bench ruled against an attempt by 5 petitioners who wanted the court to rule against the bill and allow nomination losers to hop to other parties.
Attempts by 4 petitioners to have the High Court invalidate the Political Parties Amendment Act of 2022 and allow party hopping has hit a dead wall.
And Article 259 of the Constitution.
A 3-judge bench of the High Court, comprising of judges Hedwig Ongudi, Esther Maina, and Daniel Ogembo, ruled that the act was illegal and constitutional as IEBC had conducted public participation, giving Kenyans a chance to make their input.
Enactment of the impugned amendment was consultative, meaningful and reasonable. The amendments cannot therefore be nullified on this ground. 6. There is no unconstitutionality in section 28(1) and 28A of the Elections Act.
The judges noted that IEBC has the mandate to regulate the nomination of members of all political parties, but not the registrar of political parties.
Section 34FD is unconstitutional as regulation of political party nominations is the mandate of IEBC and not the registrar of political parties.
They said all political parties are subject to audit as they receive public funds. The judges noted that a member of a political party cannot belong to another political party, and if one fails to be nominated, he may want to seek the ticket in another party, which would affect timelines for the IEBC. For the losers in nominations, the only available avenue is now to contest as independents. This route too has its demands, as one has to be supported by at least 1,000 registered voters in seeking parliamentary seat and 2,000 for Senate, and the signatures must be verified by the IEBC.
The petitions fail and are dismissed. Each party shall bear its own costs. Those are the orders of the court.
Now that question on, the decision taken there by the courts also comes in the wake with what IEBC had to say, that it has no mandate actually to bar any aspirant facing graft and other cases seeking elective positions in August. You welcome your feedback. You can get us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. Into matters politics, the Orange Democratic Movement party leader Raila Odinga has told of those who lost in the party's primaries seeking to contest as independents that they will not have their way. Raila said it is a height of deceit for some individuals to try and take a fight from the party after they lost nomination, saying they should not have contested if they were not ready to lose.
The Azimio la Umoja presidential candidates who addressed ODM aspirants at Bomas said leadership is not about enriching oneself but serving the electorate, an ideal he said was being expounded by the coalition.
Naambia kwamba kila kitu ingie kwa tikiti ya ODM. Maana kuna wengine ambaye alikuwa ni mwana ODM ameenda kwa mchujo, ameshindwa, anatoroka sasa, anasema nataka kwenda independent. Mbona wako kwa independent mapema? Ulikuja hapa kufanya nini? Nani leta wewe hapa? Kama ulikuwa unataka kwenda independent, ama mapema enda independent. Kwa nini mtazua wewe? Lakini umekuja kwa chungwa, unaenda kwa mchujo, umeshindwa, nasema mimi naenda sasa independent. Nimesema hiyo hatutaki kukubali. Kama wewe ni mtu ambaye unataka kuwa tajiri, hapana kwenda kwa siasa.
Raila, who spoke while issuing certificates to aspirants who won at the party primaries, said leaders should be loyal to serve from their political party of choice.
Tunataka kuonyesha kwamba sisi kama wanachungwa tunaweza kufanya kazi tofauti na wale ambao wanapiga kelele hapo. Bwe. Wanasema hii wao wenyewe wanajulikana. Ukiangalia vile wamefanya, sema tio tumejenga hii, lakini kwa gharama ngapi? Hiyo umejenga SGR, umetumia pesa ngapi?
He further said that he has always had positive intentions for the country in his political journey.
Sisi ni tunabeba bendera ya ukombozi, the flag of liberation, when they were all till there. Sasa wanachukuja wanaongea lugha ya mapinduzi wakati mapinduzi sitakuja. Wakati ambayo tulikuwa na simba ambaye alikuwa na meno na makucha, ambaye alikuwa wakisema ngwe ndani. Wao walikuwa wanalinda na tena wanatetea serikali ile ambayo ilikuwa na nyasha wananchi wa Kenya. Sasa wao wanaongea lugha ya mapinduzi, lugha ya maendeleo, ya mabadiliko, ati chini juu, bottoms up.
This as a section of leaders from northern Kenya commit to sell the Azimio la Umoja political agenda to the latter.
The guy with the highest political injuries in this country as we speak. We are going to rally behind him.
President is Raila Mamolo Odinga on ODM ticket, and they elect me on ODM ticket, then they should wait for many developments in the constituency.
We know that our list is drawn, and we have a certified list from the party headquarters to indicate who the candidates are. Nobody has any pingamizi about this.
Raila there speaking tough and asking those, seemingly saying that anyone who lost in the ODM primaries should not ditch the party, but instead work together with the persons who have been given that ticket, and that if we were not ready to lose, then politics was not an area you should have invested in. Actually, that was a very funny comment there from the presidential aspirant there and head of ODM. We're going to be keeping tabs on what is happening in as far as matters politics are concerned, given that the deadline is inching closer by the hour. And now developments that we have is allies of ODM gubernatorial candidate Tim Wanyonyi want ODM to hand the Westlands legislator the party nomination certificate before any engagement on the Nairobi lineup with their Jubilee counterparts. Now, they were reacting to a purported deal to front a former Nairobi Deputy Governor Polycarp Igade on the coalition ticket. Now, we'll be giving you details and on this particular development. It was captured by our reporter John Jacob Kyrie and is available on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. Now on to regional matters is that Kenya is targeting to rake in 1 trillion shillings by exporting a skilled labor force to the regional market. This will be done through the National Productivity Center and the National Industrial Training Center. The Labour Ministry Cabinet Secretary Simon Chelagui says the government plans to take advantage of the shortage of ICT skills in the region, which is expected to expand with the admission of the Democratic Republic of Congo to the East African Community.
According to the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, the East African community faces significant labor shortages in information technology, engineering, finance, hospitality, and management. This has fueled the migration of professionals from the region, with Kenya becoming a major supplier of skilled labor in the region. According to UNCTAD report, Kenya is a major exporter of skilled labor to Rwanda, Tanzania, South Sudan, and Burundi. Labour Cabinet Secretary Simon Chelugui says Kenya is targeting to tap the Democratic Republic of Congo as a major destination for skilled labourers.
Skills gaps across the world so that we can encourage our training institution, encourage our young people to focus on those skills gaps.
The admission of DR Congo makes East African community the largest business bloc in Africa. The Labour CS further says Kenya will take advantage of the latest business development to showcase its talents and harness the gains.
We need to share skills and training across our region. We need to begin to look at our region as one. We need to break barriers, boundaries, and create one harmonious community.
Chelugui says regional leaders are keen to break trade barriers within the bloc, which still poses a major integration threat to the region. The Ministry of Labour is in the process of updating its skilled labour register in an effort to upgrade its human resource development policies and strategies. Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, however, says implementing the skilled labour register lies in the ability to measure progress and to respond to data needs.
We really need to domesticate what we are getting at the international level so that we are well covered. Anything that is new in the industry, we are able to bring it on board.
The entry of DRC into the East African region is bound to expand the market, bringing in a whole market, target market of around 90 million people. So in as far as business is concerned, that is indeed a boost. Now, EcoBank has rolled out a 1 billion shillings agri-financing kitty targeting coffee, tea and dairy farmers in the Mount Kenya region. The initiative aims at unlocking finance for agricultural equipment and dairy cooling plants, as well as working capital for players in the agribusiness value chain.
Even though agriculture supports over 70% of the economy, the sector remains underfunded. In recent years, financiers have been targeting and tailor-making products for the agricultural sector.
We want to see millions of dollars also invested in agriculture in that sector, in this region. And then by extension, that will translate to the progress in terms of economics that we want in this country. What we want to measure out of it is how much more produce are we able to get out of the farmers, how much more markets we enable farmers to access, how much of infrastructure that goes into production and preserving agricultural output value addition has been put in place out of these partnerships.
We have also addressed challenges within the cooperative movement, more so in the agricultural sector, the tea, the coffee, and we hope that that's an entry point where EcoBank can begin.
One such financier is EcoBank, that has announced earmarking 1 billion shillings to support coffee, tea and dairy value chains in the greater Mount Kenya region. The cash will be channeled towards acquisition of agricultural equipment and infrastructure such as storage facilities and dairy cooling plants, as well as trade finance to address immediate working capital needs for farmers, SACCOs and organizations involved in the agribusiness value chain. Elsewhere, the Kenya Green Building Society has rolled out an online building material directory dubbed Jenga Green Library towards bridging the information gap.
So it's to advise. So it's the key that we wanted it to be on your fingertips. You can choose and you can say, okay, I'm going to get this toilet, but I want it to meet this particular standard. And then I can compare price across the market because there are different suppliers, right? So what is expensive and what is cheap? You decide for yourself what is expensive and what is cheap, but at the same time knowing the sustainability factor at hand. So you can factor in the cost of sustainability.
The directory will serve as a one-stop shop for developers, buyers, homeowners and urban planners to efficiently identify green products and service providers in their vicinity.
On that note, we take a quick break. You can see a majority of you are watching this particular show from various parts of the country. We have Dennis there, who is en route to Naivasha, saying that he is enjoying the show. We also have Dan there, who is also watching. We also have an Anthony, who is watching from County City Hall there, as well as Jackson Kashusha, who is always tuned in from Nairobi area. We also appreciating the presence of Mr. Wanjoy from Ruiru. Remember, you can do this because we are streaming on our various social media platforms, including YouTube and Facebook. We take a quick break. We'll be back with what is happening in the sporting arena.
her that where there was fire, ashes remain.
Yes, but she's in love with someone else.
With whom you forced her to get married.
You're a murderer. My father died and it was all your fault.
I didn't kill your father. You're crazy.
I am not crazy.
Move away.
He's your son. Don't you treat him like that. I will protect you.
You know that I'll ruin you if I open my mouth.
Our dad ordered you to leave him, but you're rolling in the hay with him.
Just leave us alone. You know you never change.
I'm sure that their love won't last too long. It's because...
Jaribu usahau tabu zako zote na ujienjoy kwa hii dini.
Usiniambie hatuwezi kuwa hata na uhusiano wa kikazi tu peke yake.
Kate Lea ni mke wangu.
Kwa nini hukuniambia Laban? Ulikuwa na muda wa kutosha kunieleza mama.
Wakati huo ulikuwa wakati mgumu sana.
Ama wewe raha yako ni tu mimi sina raha, si ndio?
Anayekukosesha raha sio mimi, ni wewe ulio wako.
Mom! Ask her to come out.
Mom, who are you asking us to see? Why so mysterious?
Yeah, what's up?
It's me. I'm Pinky.
I've lost a lot of precious things, but I don't know why. Will I have to experience it again?
Nenda deposit ya mahali. Very good.
Leo nimehema. I think I'm getting old.
Kama ukuli vizuri, haupikiwi vizuri, utazeeka tu.
Unajua tizi wanzi huku kitchen.
How long are you staying?
Hai, Mama Felix. Hata sijaka dakika 2, unataka kunifukuza already.
The last thing I need right now is some family package.
Nilikuambia tulijuana na huyu mama ya huyu kijana kabla tujajuana na wewe.
Nikirudi, nataka uniambie kila kitu, uwekele juu ya meza, kinaga ubaga.
Habari yako mama?
Mimi si mama yako.
Kazi yako mchini wakina Joyce ukipiga tu mdomo huko.
Wewe unataka kuni-advise maneno ya ndoa?
How to make your wife to be submissive.
That's so low.
Jan kuja kwa nyumba saa ngapi? Alikuwa anatoka wapi?
Good morning. This is Good Morning Kenya right here on KBC Channel 1 and I'm Regina Manyara. Now we bring you up to speed with matters that have been making headlines in the last 24 hours in as far as matters sports are concerned. Now the National Women's Handball Deaflympic team coach Peter Mwanthi is banking on his vast experience at the international scene to help guide the Kenya to glory at the 24th Summer Deaflympics to be held in Brazil. The games will be held in the southern town of Caix do Sol from the 1st to the 15th of next month. Only 5 teams, including host Brazil, Kenya, Turkey, Argentina and Denmark, will compete in the women's event. The matches will be played in a round-robin format. The team, alongside their male compatriots, athletics, basketball, football and golf, have been in camp since the 1st of this month at the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani, Nairobi. Kenya only needs to win 2 matches to be in the medal bracket.
We have a training schedule that the coach has been giving unto us, and we have a training schedule since morning and the afternoon, and we are really interested and we are really ready since it's our first time for the Deaflympic. Even as being the captain, I have the confidence.
Whenever you have a residential training or camp, you have enough time to do most of the things that you could not be able to do there before. And therefore we have gotten into the program well, and the girls are really understanding what they're supposed to be doing.
Now we have so much happening in the sporting arena, including that the Confederation African Football CAF has included Kenya and Zimbabwe in the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier matches, despite being banned indefinitely from international soccer by the World Soccer Governing Body, that is FIFA there. Further details available on our website. That brings a cap into Matters News. Remember, we are still here. The show still continues, and indeed it's Thursday, where we say Thursday is a new Friday. We'll be bringing you up to speed with Matters Entertainment, but before that, let's skim through the various dailies that we have with us this morning.
Welcome back. We now move on to part 2 of In the Headlines, where we get to have a look at what the papers have for us today. I have a copy of the Daily Nation. It is so busy today. So many stories have been featured here on the front page. Let's just quickly go through them very briefly before we get to give you more details. Number 1, cancer-causing toxins found in peanut butter and fruit juices. Again, this is according to a research that was conducted and released last week. It was a study that was done by ILRI, the International Livestock Research Institute. They sampled 10 peanut butters that are available in the Kenyan market, and 6 out of these 10 had contaminations that were above the Kenya and US minimum aflatoxins, and they went on to also do sample many other products that are consumed by humans and animals. And among the categories that involved humans, they studied some herbal health drinks. There's also wheat, baby food, feed ingredients for animal feed, as well as maize and fodder. And all this seem to have at least, is it 64? Yes, 64% of all these samples had toxins levels that were above the Kenya and US standards. That is, you know, the limiting standards that are given right there. So I'll be giving you more details about this particular story, because it does touch on both your health and mine. The next story here is concerning nominations. Why do fists and chairs fly during nominations? And when you get to look at this story, just above this story, there's a picture of, or rather caricature, of what seems to resemble Igathe. And he seems to be just throwing slices of loaves behind, and on each slice of loaf there's a name of a company that he has worked with that has been indicated on these slices of bread, and it ranges from Equity to Vivo Energy to the Anti-Counterfeit Agency, Special Economic Zones Authority, Deputy Governor, and now he's holding the governor's slice of bread. And in each of these slices he seems to take a bite or two, then throws it away. Jitafakarie. Swahili imegonga ukuta. You can be able to just interpret it in your own way from that. And that actually brings me to the main story on the front page of the Daily Nation: storm over Igathe. This is in line with the deal that is said to have been brokered in State House just last week, which unceremoniously now named Igathe as the potential governor for Nairobi County under the Azimio One Kenya Alliance Grand Coalition, and he would be named as the candidate, and of course expected to be deputized by Tim Wanyonyi, whom yesterday said that, or rather insisted that he could not deputize a political novice. This goes on to throw a spanner in the works, and especially so for Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta in the Azimio side of the divide. Away from that, how prisons cleaner spent 257 million Kenya shillings windfall after supplying air. This story is quite interesting. Every day it keeps developing, and here they talk about some of the purchases that he is said to have made, which range from a property that he purchased and put it under his father's name. That is a house, and he bought it from the Kenya Housing. He also said to have bought a car from DT Dobi and paid some 10 million Kenya shillings towards that piece of land and put it under the accountant's name. He also bought another house and put it under the principal accountant's name at the prisons. He's also said to have spent another 15 million for business premise and land, just to name but a few of the purchases that have been indicated here. Of course, we'll be giving you more details in just a bit. And finally, the last story that has been featured here, rebels of the Rift. Against all odds, what is happening? I will be telling you in not too long. Mike.
Yes, now on the front page of the Star, the headline is Ruto is ahead in a new poll race. Now, when you look at the poll that was recently done, Ruto is leading by 45.5%, Raila is at 41.3%, Musalia Mudavadi is at 3%, and Mwangi wa Iria, I hope I'm pronouncing that properly.
Iria.
Mwangi wa Iria is at 1%. This poll, this is very interesting because last week, Raila Odinga was leading, and this week, Ruto is leading. So one has to wonder, okay, what's with the change? What happened? Is it because of what has been said during the campaigns? So we'll find out more about that later on when we dive into the story. Still on the front page is... which is, I think, is the leading story. Uhuru Kenyatta has said that the country needs problem solvers, not whiners. This is very, very interesting. Uhuru spoke during the official opening of the 45th Kenya Secondary School Heads Association annual conference in Mombasa on Wednesday. And he said that the biggest problem that we have in the country that the leaders are good at identifying the problems but not able to offer the solutions. So we'll also get to dive into it, and I'm really interested to see what Jane has to say about that, because I think it can make a really interesting conversation there.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now, next up is also still on politics, turmoil in the city as Kenyatta, Raila, they shuffled the Nairobi lineup, which is causing a lot of, it's creating a lot of questions with regard to who's going to, lead in terms of the senatorial primaries that is supposed to happen on Thursday. Still on that story, the ethnic arithmetic by President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga could claim high-flying casualties, including ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna. More on that story later on. This is a story that I want us to talk about before we move on to Doreen. There's a 2-year-old intersex child with Down syndrome who needs help. According to the story, the doctors, they're recommending surgery for the sake of her gender identity. But now there's other parties within that, the story, they're saying they should let the child grow up, then make the decision, him or herself. Jane, what do you think about that?
This is actually a story that, a similar story I came across a while back of a child who was, born intersex, and the parents decided to go with a particular gender. But when the child grew up, they associated themselves with the other gender that was, quote unquote, cut off. Now, and that brought a lot of debate. That child actually went as far as suing the parents because of such. This happened in the Americas. But now looking at this particular situation, number one, we are getting to that time in our country where we are actually coming out to such stories. Back in the census, that's when the first time in the African space that the intersex population was actually recognized by the state. And this went a long way in just protecting this particular group of the population. And the fact that it has been brought out to the limelight, number one, that is a step in the right direction. But then again, personally, I would approach this particular story from the child's interests point of standing. Because one, I understand the parents would want to, they think the child looks like a girl, so maybe let the child grow up as a girl. But much later in life, things could be different. The child could identify as a boy or a girl. But then again, looking at this child, maybe when they grow up, they can make this decision for themselves. So personally, I would allow this child to make this decision for themselves when they get to an age that they can be able to make such a decision, you know.
I think where it gets complicated,
that's a heavy responsibility to also place on the child.
It really is. But I think where it gets complicated with this story is the child is not only intersex, the child also has Down syndrome.
Yeah.
So, Ray, what do you think about this story?
And I think that's the point where I just agree with you on that one, Momboy. Like, let that child grow, because you just can't quite tell. You say the child is how old? Is it 2 years?
Yes.
2 years. So you see, at that point, you really can't quite say whether they would turn out be, you know, a boy or a girl, given they have both the two genders. So just allowing that child to grow and letting them decide would be the best decision for that child. Because what happens if you decide to remove the male gender and then they actually grow up being male? Or decide to do the otherwise and then they grow up being female. You know, I mean, just let that child grow. Let them decide when they are an adult.
But then again, the spanner in this particular story is the neurological condition that the child has, Down syndrome.
Yeah, it's not just the physical, it's also the mental. So there's a lot of things to consider. The fact that the child is 2 years old and can't really, you know, communicate what they want for themselves, it becomes very, very tricky, because from the point of view of the parents, they care. So they're doing this because they care for the child. But there's a lot of implications. We'll try to follow up with those stories and more later on. That was the front page of the Star. Doreen?
All right, ODM intrigues of a Nairobi governor race. That is the main read, and that's what you're waking up to this morning on the PD, just as we had talked about a bit earlier, that this is actually becoming one of those tight races in this August 9 general election, and this is after the entry of Polycarp Igathe there on this particular race. And just after that entry, now residents of Nairobi, particularly those of Westlands where Tim Wanyonyi gets to serve, are now saying that they are not going to take it lightly if Tim Wanyonyi backs down, given that he is the ODM candidate on this particular race. And Igathe coming to this race is actually coming on the Jubilee ticket, and then that also begs the question, where does this leave Richard Ngatia, who is also vying for this particular seat on the Jubilee Party ticket? But again, remember that sometime last week there was a bit of questioning when it comes to his academic papers, and so also the Azimio One Kenya is trying to sort of disassociate themselves in respect to that. So again, really quite a tight race. And also what is coming out is that the new lineup of coalition aspirant is actually scheduled to be unveiled today at State House. So that simply means that, you know, Kenyans, basically Nairobi residents, will be getting to know who will be flying, you know, the ticket for this particular seat. But again, also remember that part of what is coming out is that there's sort of a bit of just choosing who is going to vie for which seat on which ticket. Remember that also when it comes to the senatorial seat, we have Edwin Sifuna, who's vying on the ODM ticket. On the women representative, there's Esther Passaris as well, vying for the same ticket, ODM, together with Beatrice Kwamboka, who's a nominated senator. So that ultimately means, if that is going to be the case, then it simply means that when it comes to the county boss, then it needs to go to another party still within the same coalition. So these are some of the things that also the entire coalition is trying to consider. But again, also leaders from the Luya community now threaten to ditch Azimio if at all Wanyonyi is not handed that certificate. So who really is it going to be, and what exactly are they really going to consider? Today is the day that we'll be getting to see all that, just going by this particular article where they say that they're set to unveil these aspirants today. And away from that, Form 1 entry uniform charges shock parents, whereby some schools are now asking more than 30,000 for these uniforms, and they're actually directing parents to go to specific shops to get these uniforms. And parents are now complaining. In fact, they're on social media saying that this is not the way to go, given the fact that they want to be given leeway to choose where exactly they want to get uniforms for their children. This is for the Form 1 students who are set to report on May 3rd. And Raila is saying that leadership isn't about salary. This is all about service. Just talking to also those that lost in the nominations and they're choosing to go at it as independent candidates. He is saying that, and actually was warning aspirants against joining politics to enrich themselves, saying that this is a position and a space for service and not to make money. And lastly, Ukambani leaders, Azimio Tiff plays ugly, whereby Kibwana, that is the Makueni governor, saying that it's not becoming impossible to work with the Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka in the new coalition, just saying that the former vice president is pushing for his isolation in the Azimio One Kenya alliance. That is what Kivutha Kibwana is saying. So when we get to the details, I'll be telling you more of what he is complaining about and why exactly he is saying it is now becoming difficult for them to work together as Ukambani leaders. Regina.
Now, on the front page of this particular daily, being the Standard, that main read is about who is picking who for what. And we're talking about Kenya Kwanza politics as well as Azimio la Umoja. What is happening? You know, we're all waiting to see who is going to be picked as running mate in both camps. Now, dubbed Kivumbi 2022, old is gold for Raila as Ruto goes for new. This is in reference to the party primaries that are still ongoing, some that have already been completed and certificates already issued. Primaries as voters renew mandates of close associates of Azimio leader Odinga, preferring tired and tested hands to work with him. But on the other hand, in as far as UDA nominations are concerned, they are picking fresh faces, meaning that DP Ruto will have to work with a relatively younger team. Just to skim through in as far as DP Ruto's camp, we already have the certificates in Nakuru, Uasin Gishu, Nandi, Elgeyo Marakwet, Baringo, Kericho, and Bomet. Governor aspirant there is Susan Kihika. Senator Tabitha Keroche. She had to change her name, from Tabitha Karanja to Keroche for this particular polls, I'm sure. She's going to be running on this, she's going to be flying the UDA flag in as far as the senatorial position is concerned come August 9th. In Uasin Gishu, we have Jonathan B. for governor, while senator is Jackson Mandago. Nandi, Stephen Sang, and Samson Cheragay. Elgeyo Marakwet, Wesley Rotich, Kipchumba Murkomen for senator. In Baringo, Benjamin Cheboy there, who was can I say immediate former governor before the incumbent now. Then for senator we have William Cheptumo. Then in Kericho we have Dr. Eric Mutai and Aaron Cheriot as senator, aspiring senator. Bomet, Hilary Barchok and Hilary Sigay for senator, governor and senator respectively. Well, the list is long, and as far as members of parliament are concerned, so you can get yourself this particular daily. Now, the UDA party primaries casualties, the big names, so to speak. We have Peris Tobiko, who lost in Kajiado South. We also have Caleb Kostani, Soy MP, Wilson Sosion, who was a nominated member of parliament, Isaac Maura, who was also nominated member of parliament, Joseph Boynet, the former inspector general, Charles Keter, former minister of energy there, Moses Cheboy, deputy speaker, Joyce Correa, and I'm sure you've heard of those major names. We also have Fred Sigor, who is a former PS tourism and wildlife. Now let's look at the Azimio la Umoja camp and look at the ODM nomination winners. In Kisumu, governor, we have the incumbent defending his seat, that is Professor Anyang' Nyong'o. Senator Tom Ojienda there. Women rep is Ruth Odinga. We also have Siaya James Orengo. This is a close ally of Raila Odinga there. They have gone through the test of time in as far as matters politics are concerned. And his brother, Oburu Odinga, is going to be flying the flag high for ODM in as far as the August 9th polls are concerned for the senator position. Homa Bay, there's a bit of haggling there, and consensus was reached. We have governor, person vying for governor is none other than Gladys Wanga and Senator Moses Kajwang. Migori Ochilo Ayako and Eddie Okech. However, tickets are yet to be issued on, the rep in as far as Kuria East is concerned, as well as Kuria West. Conversations on working on consensus is currently underway in Ugenya. Well, we're going to have a repeat. ODM is going to be doing a repeat of the party primaries in Gem. There. We're going to be keeping tabs on that, but that is what we have on the front page of this particular issue of the Standard. And also something that you need to look out for is that transport costs are likely to go up by a cool 20%. This follows the review by EPRA to increase the cost of fuel, where now diesel is retailing at 125 shillings and 50 cents per litre. According to the Kenya Transport Association Chairman Newton Wangothe says they can no longer absorb the increase in the cost of fuel, which likely is going to be passed back to you and I. That is, transportation of goods as well as persons is likely to go up by a cool 20%. We said tutakaza kamba because life is for the living, and we shall live until we cannot anymore. So as we bring this to a close, I'd want to read a quote from William Durant. He says, "Forget past mistakes, past failures, forget everything except what you are going to do now and do it." I'm Regina Manyara, and this is Good Morning Kenya on KBC Channel 1.
Remember that where there was fire, ashes remain.
Yes, but she's in love with someone else.
With whom you forced her to get married.
You're a murderer. My father died and it was all your fault.
I didn't kill your father. You're crazy.
I am not crazy.
Move away.
He's your son. Don't you treat him like that. I will protect you.
You know that I'll ruin you if I open my mouth.
Our dad ordered you to leave him, but you're rolling in the hay with him.
Just leave us alone. You know you never change.
I'm sure that their love won't last too long. It's
watoto nani? Wakati wa election aitwe election makoa. Ndio mheshimiwa.
Bibi yako anafanya kazi gani?
Anakuanga uchi mheshimiwa.
Havai nguo.
Anafaa nguo ni uchi. Anauza uchi.
Anauza uchi.
Wewe unaona ni mtu anakaa mbisopu. Wewe unaweza expect mbisopu akuive?
Hakuna pesa ulinipatia. Mimi nitoroka.
Enda uroge. Enda uroge.
Are you serious?
Yes. Enda uroge.
Yasmin, can we meet next week?
Wewe. Wewe mzee, hapa ni hoteli akawe apewe soda.
Sababu nini nyingine unaweza msaidia naye?
Ndio nakuuliza hapa unaona soda ikiuzwa.
Jaribu usahau tabu zako zote na ujienjoy kwa hii dinner.
Usiniambie hatuwezi kuwa hata na uhusiano wa kikazi tu peke yake.
Kate Lea ni mke wangu.
Kwa nini hukuniambia Laban? Ulikuwa na muda wa kutosha kunieleza mama.
Wakati huo ulikuwa wakati mgumu sana.
Ama wewe raha yako unioni tu mimi sina raha, si ndio?
Anayekukosesha raha sio mimi, ni wewe ulio wako.
Milima na mabonde ni mipango ya Mungu. Niliposhikwa nililan 1 2 3. Wacha njili na ifike kwa mathiri. Kama Zakayo mina shuka on the tree. Wacha ngakilishe venye kwesta meni bamba. Father feed the person and thank you every day. Toka Jan to December meni linda bila pay. Anyway, sina say let me praise you every day. Cause me have seen whom have been to me. Wacha washuhudie baraka zangu zikikam. Hata zichelewe mimi najua zitakan through. Sifa zake Mola juu juu. Mimi najua haso yangu siku moja itajipa. Wacha washuhudie baraka zangu zikikam. Hata zichelewe mimi najua zitakan through. Sifa zake Mola juu juu. Mimi najua haso yangu siku moja itajipa. Kwa sababu watakuja kunambia hauna kitu mtu wangu cheza chini. Cheza chini, hauna form dogo langu cheza ndogo. Cheza ndogo, wagodi sisi tunajibamba. Tunajibamba. Legas stress chana stories za wanga. Banjukat, sao shida bana werukat. Oh na 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 na. Banjukat, waisura bana werukat. Oh na 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 na. Mungu wetu anatupenda. Nobody put us asenda. Akisema atatenda, atatenda, atatenda. Wacha washuhudie baraka zangu zikikam. Hata zichelewe mimi najua zitakam through. Na sifa zake Mola juu juu. Mimi najua haso yangu siku moja itajipa. Wacha washuhudie baraka zangu zikikam. Hata zichelewe mimi najua zitakam through. Na sifa zake Mola juu juu. Mimi najua haso siku moja itajipa. Walai, ananibamba jalali. Hata zichelewe mimi najua zitakam through. Na sifa zake Mola juu juu. Mimi najua haso yangu siku moja itajipa. Wacha washuhudie baraka zangu zikikam. Hata zichelewe mimi najua zitakam through. Na sifa zake Mola juu juu. Mimi najua haso siku moja itajipa.
Right, welcome back to the program. Time for our first conversation this Thursday morning. Matters entertainment, that is what we want to talk about, and our focus being on gospel music. That is what we are starting with. My guest is already on set. Suleibizo is our guest today.
Asante.
Hilo ni jina la usanii?
Ya, jina yangu ya usanii.
Why Suleibizo?
Ya, Suleibizo najua ni jina yangu ya stage name, performing name. So my real name naitwa Felix Ayoga.
Na hii ilitokea wapi? Because hata haikai ni kama imetoka from your real name.
Okay, ni jina unajua nilikuwa nakaa na Islam sana. Nilikuwa nakaa na mama wa Kiislamu, Mwarabu, nilikuwa namfanyia job. So alikuwa alipendezewa sana nilikuwa naitwa Sule. So kama nibandikio jina Bizo, nilipata kama niko high school. Yeah, okay. Napenda ninashughulika sana biashara.
Mtu wa biashara. Daktari anasema uonge kama msanii, yani sauti, kupaza sauti.
Yeah, sawa, nimesikia.
Kitu kama hiyo sana, si ndio? So umegrow Nairobi ama Mombasa?
Okay, mimi nimekaa Mombasa. Sana Likoni.
Na hapo ndo ulianzia usanii?
Yeah, nimeanzia usanii Mombasa.
How was it doing music in the coast?
Muziki Mombasa iko poa. Na okay, nilikuwa napenda sana kufanya muziki. So unajua Mombasa ni mostly ni Waislamu. But tunafanya gospel, unapata ile ni ya Christianity. Haiendi sana, unaona. Lakini inabidi to try juu at the end of the day tuna serve Mungu mmoja, unaona. Yeah, kwa Muislamu, kwa kila mtu anakuanga tuna serve to one God. Yeah.
Umesema umelelewa na penye ulitoka kuna hiyo Uislamu sana. So chances ya kufanya gospel pia ilikuwa inakaa very slim.
Inakuwa limit kidogo.
So why did you then choose to do gospel?
Okay, nilipenda kufanya muziki wa injili juu. Okay, mimi mwenyewe ni born again Christian, unaona. So kwa Christian nilikuwa napenda sana kuimba church nini. Na hapo I think ndio nilikuwa inspired to kufanya ngoma ya gospel peke yake. Nilikuwa nataka tu nifanye ministry. Yeah.
Watu wanasema sana kufanya muziki outside Nairobi, maybe counties kama Mombasa, Kisumu, just any county which is not Nairobi. Wanasema ni ngumu sana. Was that your experience, much as ikwa wakati ulianza professionally, but was it your experience?
Sisi sema Nairobi ndio tuseme kama uko kaunti nyingine huwezi fanya muziki. Unaweza fanya tu muziki as well. Ina depend na bidii na connection ya nani uko naye hapo mbele, unajua. Uko na nani ama unafanya muziki gani? Unajua ukifanya muziki mzuri obvious utafika tu Nairobi. Juu niko sure kuna watu wanafanya muziki Kakamega ama kuna watu wanafanya muziki Mombasa, but still bado Nairobi wanawacheza. 100% sure. Yeah.
Ulianza muziki professionally in 2018.
Yeah.
At this time bado ulikuwa Mombasa ama ulikuwa kuja Nairobi?
Niko Mombasa.
Ulikuwa Mombasa.
Yeah.
How was your experience?
Haikuwa rahisi, ilikuwa ngumu sana yani sana.
Si ndio hiyo sasa unatuambia na umetoka kutuambia ilikuwa
ilikuwa ngumu sana. Haikuwa rahisi vile juu kupata ile access ya pesa, lakini nilikuwa naamini God, unaona. Naamini Mungu sana atatenda. So niliamua Mombasa nilikuwa najitafutia kipato kidogo, napata support pia kwa parents. Nikafanya ngoma yangu inaitwa Naweza, nikafanya pale Kelele Records na Techniques. So nilifanya ngoma I think ilikuwa mostly more about my life, unaona. Nilikuwa naenda church pale liko ni Church of God. So ni kama sick fit kanisa vizuri, unaona. Nikafeel kama pastor anani judge, unaona. Yeah. So feel pastor anani judge ile bidi ni quit kanisa. Nikakaa nje ya kanisa for some time. Ndio nikafanya ngoma Naweza. Naweza, unaona. Hiyo Anaweza ni sema kama ni story yangu tu, unaona. Mimi naamini Mungu anaweza kupenda licha kama uko na pesa. Unajua kuna church nyingine unaweza enda kama una pesa upata uko tu hapo chini. Unaanga sei, unaona. Kama una pesa kuna some churches, unaona. But unaweza ingia church nyingine uko poa. Kwani physically ama health ama upande wa wealth kuna kakitu unapata na kwa ile respect nini, but kanisa zingine mazee. So mimi nikawa na feel pastor na ni judge. Nikaona tu afadhali acha niachane na kanisa kidogo. Nikae kando nijitambue, unaona. So nikawa na feel kwani ni wapi nakosea, unaona. So nikaandika nyimbo ya Naweza, unaona. Yeah.
Unasema ulikuwa na feel kama pastor na kujudge. I mean, au ndo anafaa kukuwa mentors. Na mara mingi napata kwanza wanasema especially kwa wasanii wa saizi kitu moja yenye wana miss kwanza wa gospel ni hawakai sana kwa kanisa. So unapata content yao is not as, if I may say, maybe ya kutouch compared to wale wasanii wa pale awali. So ukisema pastor alikuwa na kujudge, in what ways this yet anafaa kukuwa someone anakumentor, someone ana grow your talent na vitu kama hizo?
Okay, sijui pastor alikuwa na feel aje upande wangu, lakini pastor ona sini maboys, unaona. Mimi kama youth kuna venye niko labda style imenyoa, unaona. So pastor nikawa na kusema hii style umenyoa ni ya kishetani bana. Wow. So mimi bidi niachane na kanisa kidogo na maze kumekuwa na up and downs, unaona. So after kuachana na church, mimi nilikuwa na hasa nilifocus sana nataka fame, unaona, nataka jina, as long as siko church nitafanyaje, unaona. Kwa nilijiingiza kwa vitu zingine zenye azifai, unaona. Zenye aziko poa kabisa.
So mimi hizo vitu ni part of your testimony. But coming back to your first song, Anaweza, si ndio? Umesema it was mostly your story. Is it like your life story, your growing up, upbringing na hizo zote? Okay, mostly muziki mimi nafanya nyimbo sana ya kuelimisha, unaona. Naandika ngoma kulingana na situation, unaona. Hali yangu inapitia sahi, kuna mse mwingine anapitia labda more than me, ama unaona. So naweza kupea hope na labda useme mimi kulingana na ngoma yangu ile ya Anaweza, life yangu after kutolewa church mimi lika around 2 years. Yani siendi church kabisa. So nilikuwa tempted kuingia nimeenda mpaka Freemason. Nimeingia mpaka Freemason pale. So this was because ulikuwa na feel depressed?
Nilikuwa depressed sana. So yani ilibidi tu. So I think nienda pale like 3 times. Unaona, mara ya kwanza nikapewa excuse, mara ya pili nikaambiwa niamini dini, mara ya tatu so ikawa nirudi, but ka feel okay, mimi nilikuwa nimeamua kurudi mara ya tatu, the third time. So kaa nimedoze, nikana naota vitu zenye kwani aziko tu sawa, unaona. But I think mamangu anaomba sana, unaona. So nilikuwa ile siku nimeambiwa nirudi for the last time Freemason. Niliambiwa niende overnight, unaona. So kudoze nikawa naota vitu mob sana, nikawa naota ati nimepewa kuku nichinje, unaona. Kupewa kuku nichinje, kuchinja hivi ikawa sasa nikamwaga damu. Kumwaga damu hapo, si unajua nimechinja sasa nyuma ya nyumba ile, uwezi chinja na kwa side zote ile nyuma kabisa. Damu ikamwagika mbele, unaona, kwa nia mlango yetu ya mbele. So nika realize kwani nimechinja hii side lakini kama inajulikana, unaona. So hapo niliamka nika feel ni kama kuna kitu haiendi poa. Mamanga alinikola asubuhi akasema na feel life yako ni kama iko vizuri, unaona. Yafaa turn back to God. Mimi nikamwambia mamangu yenyewe mimi na struggle na vitu nyingi mimi nafanya, nataka nifanye kufreshe. Hata niko najiamini afadhali nishi kidogo, kwani stay young, die young but rich, unaona. Nilikuwa nimejiwekea hiyo ni, but I think mamangu anaombanga sana sikumaliza nikafanikiwa.
Kwa hivyo ilifika point all you were interested in was just to make money.
And be famous.
To make money and be famous.
I
mean, in other words, what you're saying ni kama tuseme it agrees with what also good people are saying, that wasanii wengi kwanza wale wa gospel wanaingia gospel not because of the messaging or the content they want to put forth, but they just want to make money and be rich.
Siwezi sema wao ama, but okay, kwa kivyangu mimi nilikuwa experience yangu nilifeel mali niko okay. Mtu alinitoa sasa moral sana alikuwa pastor tu. Mimi na feel pastor ndiye alikuwa anataka kunimess.
So then ukisema pastor, then do you feel like church iko na very big role to play in terms of either msanii kukua upfront na kufanya huduma yake ama kwenda haywire?
Kuna kanisa Wajua, okay, kitu ya kwanza ukiona kama mimi Sule ni okay nakosea ama mimi ni mbaya. Wajua, the first thing yafaa kuwa rafiki yangu. Once ukiwa na baba wa kiroho anakumenta kona wewe, unaona hata utahofia kufanya vitu nini mbaya unaona, utafeel chachi takaje na mimi nitakuaje, unaona nitakuwa na leta face gani. So unajua once mtu kwani anakuongea vibaya, unajua pia ulimi unakas, unaona mtu akikusema vibaya akiamka asema kwani anakukas tu time to time, yani utafeel tu haiwezi, so utaingia tu kwa vitu
zingine. So kwa mtazamo wako unaona kama role ya church kabisa, role ya kanisa ni nini haswa kwa wasanii, kwanza kwa wasanii wa injili?
Role ya kanisa kwa wasanii wa injili hasa yafaa wa mentor, alafu kwani most of the time yafaa wa advise wasanii. Juu wajua tuseme kama ministry ma gospel ni ngumu sana, wajua kama una baba wa kiroho kwenda straight ni rahisi. Yani ni rahisi sana.
Unakuwa the target of the devil. Anyway, now coming back, June, unasema sasa after all that you now decided you want to come back to do your music, your gospel music, music of hope as you call it, sindio? So now did you get a mentor, someone to guide you, someone to show you there, because pale awali you didn't have this?
Nimaza nikakuja Nairobi. Kuja Nairobi nilianza kwenda kanisa Beneza. Itwa Paul Shiriebo, pastor. Ni babangu pia bado na naamini ni babangu pia kiroho, unaona. Yeye alikuwa ananimenta na ananiambia ukitaka kuwa hivi tumia njia, unaona. Hakunanga njia rahisi, unaona. Kwanza kwa ministry utapata watu wengi watakutenga, utapata watu wezi amini, unaona. Watu watakujaji from the outside, lakini wataka kujua the inside you uko aje, unaona. So alikuwa anani advice. So
your content process, how you go about creating your content music, because apart from Anaweza you also have other songs. How does your content process creation look like?
Daily life situation.
Only daily life situation? In terms of reading the word, inspiration from the Holy Spirit?
Vile nimesema tunafanya muziki wa hope. Waseme mara nyingi sijaandika tuseme spiritual music ile sana, ni deep to the Bible, but I think ni project inaandaa next taifanya. But sasa naandika muziki ule tu ni gospel, but ile kwani our daily life venye tunaishi, unaona, venye msana anaweza kujudge, venye life inaweza, kwani maisha inaweza kuwa ngumu sana ambako feel haiwezi, but mimi nakuja hapa na kupea hope. Hata kama una feel leo umeisha sana, umechoka, aje kuna kesho. Yani kesho yako inaweza kuwa more greater than today, unaona.
True. Doing music in Mombasa, since that's where you started in 2018, na vile ulikuja Nairobi, how can you compare doing music in these two places? Is there a difference?
I think kuna difference.
What is the difference?
Same quality. Okay, since Nairobi ni town ama ni city, kuna venye Nairobi update sana more than others, to be sama wase wengine wako huko nje, unaona. Then kuna ile competition, tunafanya kuenda, unaona. Tuseme kama Mombasa hakuna ile kwani ile competition sana ya music, yani sana iko sana, unaona. Ukikombea na Nairobi utapata umse ametoa na feel kumbe afaa kwa tunaenda at least afaa uko na ile, unajua nikifanya ministry nifanye ngoma moja kama leo nini this year, ningoje mpaka next year, unajua.
So in Mombasa hivyo ndo
Mombasa ilikuwa ni hivyo. Ni Mombasa, okay, upande wangu mimi nilikuwa na feel mimi nilikuwa na feel sasa afanye wale mabeshte tulikuwa nao karibu sana, tulikuwa tuna ile nyao, unajua. Huduma pia nayo lazima ufanye kila siku. Huwezi fanya huduma once a year, ngumu.
So being here inakupatia motisha ya kutaka kufanya, always doing your best all the time, upping your game. Okay, talk to me about Baraka.
Baraka ni ngoma, pia ni ngoma yangu tu, imeandika kulingana na life situation. Na vile nimesema ngoma karibu zangu zote najiandikianga mimi vitu nimepitia. So kuna ile time wasali kwa nasema hakuna mahali unaenda, hakuna kitu unaenda kufanya, but mimi nilikuwa naamini, unajua ukiwa na Mungu kuna ile access, unaona. Kwani ziko, unajua kuna time unaweza toka kwa nyumba lakini umependeza tu, uko sawa, unaona. Msasa mseni kama akona pesa, yani uko tu na ile unang'ara na ile jina ya Mungu, unaona uwepo wa Mungu. So baraka tu ni ngoma iko tu all about my life first.
Na pia kumshukuru Mungu.
Ya kumshukuru Mungu pia.
Okay, earlier on you said that also your mom play a very big role in terms of support. Unapata kwanza kwa wasanii wengi, especially most of this wasanii ambao wanachipuka, your support haiko because they are told you need to go to school, you need to study this, get to do something that will give you a job. So usanii ni kama by the way.
Yeah.
But for you, you had the support. Imekuwa na impact gani sana kwa usanii yako?
Okay, support nilikuwa niko na kwanza nikianza kidogo. So my dad alikuwa ananisupport kwa muziki. After kumaliza shule, nikiwa shule alikuwa hataki mambo na music. After kumaliza shule, budangu alinipeleka ka studio fulani pale Likoni. Akalipa pesa. Tukafanya project. So kufanya ngoma akaona hata ni kama ailipi, unajua pia aligive up.
Okay.
Aligive asema hii industry ni ngumu. Industry ni ngumu sana. The best way achana nayo. Okay, na mimi naishi nikisema yani kama ni ministry kitu tunafanyia Mungu siwezi acha. Nilikuwa tu ile Buda aliniambia wachana nayo, but mimi nikamwambia mimi ni ngumu. Alikuwa ananisupport but alikuwa anaona hakuna outcome, hakuna kitu inakuja. Unaona? Wametoa pesa. Anakuuliza sasa hii pesa itarudi aje? So hiyo time kulikuwa ngana za Groove Awards nini. Sawa. Groove Award yenyewe hata kupata ilikuwa ni ngumu, unaona? Hata kwa tu nominated artist. Unajua ajua mzazi akikusupport na apate hata unaenda interview. Ana feel ako sawa, lakini sasa alikuwa ananisupport but anaona nimerecord tu muziki lakini bado niko tu hapa. Unaona, hiyo ni challenge ya kwanza Mombasa. Unaona, Mombasa sana wanafanya kazi, wengine unaona wanafanya project power but sasa ile kumove haiko, unaona. So mzazi alikuwa anasupport kabidi achoke, akaacha. So nikabaki ni mimi tu na Mungu.
Kabaki ni wewe na Mungu.
Na nashukuru sana amenisaidia. I think na move.
So imekuwa tu wewe na Mungu. Things working as per how God wills. So what is your greatest motivation kama msanii? Nini inakumotivate kuendelea kufanya hii craft?
Kitu inanimotivate sana kufanya music, mimi naona wanaangalia wasanii wenzangu pia. Kiangalia kama kina Garden Angel, ni wasanii wametoka chini from nothing, unaona. But ukiangalia kuna venye God anabless na anapeleka from one level to another level, unaona. Nikiangalia mse kama akina Iniesta, unaona, ni wasanii wenye wanachipuka, wanakam through but they are doing great, unaona. Na naona ile venye Mungu anapeleka at speed yenye lazima tu upate motisha. So wale marafiki zangu wenye kwa karibu na wale wenye naangalia sana wananimotivate. The other person ananimotivate sana, ananipa motivation ni Link. Ni msanii amekuwa from nothing but sasa hiyo ukiangalia ana own studio, unaona. Sasa amekuwa struggle from nothing. Mimi naamini sasa Mungu ana bless maza.
Okay. Well said. Thank you so much for your time, Sule, and at least letting us know your story, what motivates you, what puts you on course kufanya hii gospel. Gospel si rahisi sana kufanya.
Si rahisi. Si rahisi, ni ngumu.
All right, Sule Bizo has been our first guest, obviously just talking to us about his journey, his music, and when he began that professionally. But we still have plenty more after this short musical break. Stay tuned.
changes, technologies grow, and so you need to be in the know. We bring you tech news from all over the world.
Me, I understand science revolves around life.
Tech policies and programs. Take on Tech has your back. Coming to your screens every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1. Join me, Stephanie Ayeta and Grace Givaga as we serve you with only the best tech updates the world over.
Mom!
Ask her to come out.
Mom, who are you asking us to see? Why so mysterious?
Yeah, what's up?
It's me. I'm Pinky.
I've lost a lot of precious things, but I don't know why. When I have to experience it again,
Jaribu usahau tabu zako zote na ujienjoy kwa hii dini.
Usiniambie hatuwezi kuwa hata na uhusiano wa kikazi tu peke yake.
Kate Lea ni mke wangu.
Kwa nini hukuniambia Laban? Ulikuwa na muda wa kutosha kunieleza mama.
Wakati huo ulikuwa wakati mgumu sana.
Ama wewe raha yako unioni tu mimi sina raha, si ndio?
Anayekukosesha raha sio mimi, ni wewe ulio wako.
Shingo kama shawahiwa mwendo na mitindo kama Rosie Huntington, shavuni hizo dimples hazijaniacha salama. Mama ulivyo simple haujapaka hata mascara. Nasema kivesi anaza pimpo, ndefu yake shingo kiuno kama City ya Lincoln, macho yake kama ya chingo. Cause you're beautiful, mama. Inaomba tujua ane baada tuona ane uwe na tufaa ane uwe na tupenda ane. Cause you're beautiful, mama. Inaomba tujua ane baada tuona ane uwe na tufaa ane uwe na tupenda ane. I guess I'm in love. I'm in love with you. I guess I'm in love now. I'm in love with you. I guess I'm in love. I'm in love with you. I guess I'm in love. I'm in love with you.
Thank you so much for joining us for Good Morning Kenya. Remember, you can join in on the conversation using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can follow up on leading stories. That's at www.kbc.co.ke. Our next interview, we're joined virtually all the way in Vihiga County by Mr. Philip Gavuna, who is the Chief Officer of Department of Gender, Culture, Sports, Youth, Children, and Social Services. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya, Mr. Philip.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I want us to discuss all the good things that are happening in Vihiga County, starting with the Vihiga County Youth Extravaganza. This year we are experiencing the second edition. Let's talk about the first one and the success that you had.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for this invitation. In county, we are running our second youth extravaganza, which started almost a month ago with the auditions. We gave the young people an opportunity to come and showcase their talents. And this year, our theme is basically around peace, this being an election year. Now, this initiative started last year in May, June, and we are adding on successes. Last year, we had a budget of 2 million That was our first edition. We had tokens. We supported the artists. We were on social media. We have seen artists really leveraging on the success of that first edition, and we have this a little bit better in terms of the cash tokens, in terms of the outreach, in terms of focus. And I must thank the youth of Vihiga County because they have really embraced it. Now, between what we did last year and this year is we are providing an opportunity for artists, those who are in music, to do recording, both video and video. We are linking them to partners with a view of progressing these talents, and we want to make it bigger as we move forward.
Let's talk about the token. You said there was a cash token on last year's edition, and it has increased on this year's edition. Last year's token, how much was it, and what was the response by the public in Vihiga?
Last year, as I said, we had a budget of 2 million. We did a cash token of around 200,000 across all the winners. The highest being around 30,000. This year, the highest token is 45,000. We are awarding up to position 5. Last year, we didn't do recording. This year, we are providing a chance for those in music to record their pieces. So it is more focused. Artists are quite impressed. We have brought in the aspect of even reimbursing transport, right from those who came for the auditions. As you know, times have been very hard to facilitate these young people to come and showcase their talents. This year, also those who are at the extravaganza, which started yesterday, we have also enhanced the transport reimbursement. We have given up a bus for the county that is ferrying these artists to the venues, so as to encourage them, because these are young people, there are a lot of talents, but that little facilitation can make a big difference. And I think they're quite excited. And those who are on the ground, you can attest to it, that the quality of the presentations is quite impressive. And more importantly, the theme being using the artistic expressions to preach peace, this being an election year. And it is really echoing well within even the public, the young people.
Before we talk about the success of the Vihiga County extravaganza and the second edition, let's first of all talk about the institution of the extravaganza. What brought about the creation of the extravaganza?
What brought out this idea? Basically, our governor, His Excellency Dr. Wilbur Kasibo Tichilo, has a lot of passion promoting youth talents. And last year, he allocated 2 million to the department with a view of digging deep and giving these people a platform to showcase their talent. And this is one thing we really achieved last year, because we were live on social media, we were live on some TV stations. I think even KBC, you had a glimpse of it. And this has really exposed our youths. And more importantly, so that this is not a one-off affair, we have come up with a youth service bill, which brings in the youth service board, a board by the youths at the top. Within the sub-counties, we have the youth technical committees represented from the wards, so that youth issues are discussed by the youths. Within this bill, we have the youth business startup fund, money to now take care of all these issues. We have youths who want business. We have youths who have the talent, like we are doing in the Youth Extravaganza. And this board will now come in for sustainability of this initiative. We have youths who are in business. We have youths who have talent, who want to sing, who want to record their songs. And this is now the bigger picture out of the vision the government has for the young people. So this is one of the activities that will be within this bigger picture that will board. We'll have the youth technical committees looking at all these talents. We'll have money within the bill that is looking at the issues of youths. And we'll have a program, a board and a secretariat, and within which we'll also have the youth service school that will be looking at all these talents. After the youths come out of school, they have the talents to sing, they have the talents to start business, they need to go to training. We have a school, the model of the National Youth Service, now at the county. We have TVETs, that all these youths will be trained in their various specific areas of scale, be it in talent, be it in business. Those who have been trained, there's money for them to secure the equipment, the sewing machines, the welding machines. And we see a youth sector that will be quite vibrant.
You talked about that there's training as well in different fields. Let's talk about the mentorship aspect of it all. What's the relationship? When we talk about the success of the Vihiga County Youth Extravaganza, what has been the response in terms of, the relationship between the mentors and the youth?
Actually, we have seen a number of our partners whom we brought on board last year, doing a lot of mentorship, starting with the Nyovi, who actually covered this event live. They have been mentoring our youths. We have heard, and I'm happy Mziki Eric is on board, who will take of the specifics. But we have seen a lot of interest among our partners to mentor these youths. Some of the youths have also been very actively engaged with on programs with the KBC, and I must thank you for really coming in forcefully. I've seen our strategy being promoted by KBC, Ziki Eric, and we really appreciate. And what we are doing now is to encourage and just send an olive hand to more partners, because it has to be a partnership. And some of these partners are from within and outside this county to come on board and support these artists, because we are all in this issue, in this thing, and we must support our artists to progress.
Also, we have one of last year's winners, Mziki Eric. Perhaps Eric, you can tell us, what was your experience with the first edition of the Vihiga County Youth Extravaganza and life after winning?
Asante sana kwa hii nafasi. Naitwa Mziki Eric. Mimi ndiye niliyokuwa nambari 1 kwenye secular category last year extravaganza. Naweza nikasema imeweza ikanisaidia sana upande wa exposure, kwa sababu wakati ambapo tuliweza kumaliza ile extravaganza, pindi tokea ilipotangazwa niliweza kuchukuliwa na rafiki yangu anaitwa Rastiji, ambaye aliweza kuniintroduce kwenye KBC, nikaweza kufanywa interview kule, na kutokea pale imeweza kunipa exposure sana, kwa maana watu wanaangalia huyu jamaa aliweza kuwin kwenye extravaganza last year. Imeweza kunipelekea sana kufuatilia kazi zangu. Nadhani ni kitu ambacho kimeweza kunisaidia pia kunisha na watu mbalimbali na media mbalimbali. Hata kwa county pia imeweza kunipa opportunity ya kukutana na watu ambao sikuweza kujua kama naweza kukutana nao, lakini kupitia kwa extravaganza imeweza kunikutanisha na wasanii, imeweza kunikutanisha na stakeholders wa county, na ni kitu ambacho nimeweza kufurahia sana.
Yes, perhaps also, Eric, you can probably tell us, what was it like hanging out with the contestants? Mlikuwa mnasikia aje, kwa sababu tukiangalia kulikuwa na the first edition na now kuna the second edition. Were you among the people who were calling out? Mnaambia watu, the success stories yenye inafanyika hapa ukikuja hapa kwenye Vihiga County Extravaganza ama kuliendelea aje? What was your participation within this second edition? Yes, Mr. Eric?
Yes.
Yes, what was your participation within this second edition of the Vihiga County Extravaganza? And perhaps you can also tell us, the former members of the first edition, also if they participated within the second edition, maybe calling out to new members, new participants. Mliona aje?
Kwa kweli nikiweza kulinganisha the first edition na hii, kama chief alipokuwa ameelezea, kumekuwa na improvement kubwa sana. Na kwa sisi kama wasanii ambao tuliweza kuhusika kwenye first edition, utaona kwamba imeweza kutupatia nafasi ya kuweza kuwa accommodated na the Department of Culture, ambapo tumeweza, kama mimi niliweza kupewa ile category ya adjudication. Nimekuwa nikiadjudicate the auditions for the second edition of this extravaganza. Kwa mimi naweza nikasema kwamba hiki ni wakati kinaendelea kukua, kama miaka zinapoendelea kuenda, ndio editions zinaendelea kukua bora zaidi. Mimi niweza kushukuru sana kwa Department ya Culture kupitia kwa CEO Gavana na pia kupitia kwa Gavana wetu Tichilo. Ni kitu ambacho tunajua kwamba kitakuwa kizuri sana, kwa maana kulingana na mikakati ambayo tumekuwepo imewekwa hii edition.
We're having some technical difficulties with Mr. Eric as we sort that out. Probably Mr. You can tell us this second edition that we have this year. You said the token is higher, meaning, has it encouraged more participants within the extravaganza?
Thank you, Mike. It's amazing. If you, I wish you had the opportunity to visit the site. It's quite amazing. It has seriously encouraged the artists. And what we did as a committee, and I must thank my committee because they have really worked tirelessly under the chairman of Jacob Tanga, who is an artist. We went public. We told them, this is our budget. We are allocating $500,000 of this money. Thanks to the governor, he increased it from 2 million to 3 million. Last time we did around 400,000 on awards. We upped it to 500,000, $500,000, and we went public and we told them this category is what will be awarded. So work towards that. So the competition is really focused. They are really inspired, and the fact that we are also looking at the fair reimbursements. And we are also looking at not only awarding in some categories, not only awarding position 1 and 2, but going up to position 5, so as to cover as many artists as possible. I must mention the little token we did last year. Some of them have bought art gear, performing instruments, and they're very proud of it. Last year, some of them were hiring gowns. Now they have their own. Some of them have been engaged in some of our schools as drama instructors because of what they showcased during that occasion. So it's quite encouraging, and I can feel them. It is something that they would really wish continues within the government programs, so that it is that continuity, and that is basically our objective. Why now we are coming in with the youth service bill, which once it becomes a law, then this concern is not a one-off affair, and looking at and up to the assembly level in terms of what impact as the fund within youth service play impact among in this country.
Now, with regard to the impact of Ganza, we had a discussion earlier on, and you said this year's theme is peace. So we carrying that point across with the extravaganza, with the talents.
Yeah, basically, all their presentations are focused around that theme. And we want progress in terms of taking some of those pieces to promote them as peace to our people. And I must thank you, because this is not only relating to Vihiga County. This is county-wide, because this election is for the country. So we want the Vihiga of the youth of Vihiga County to give the lead among the youth of this country, that we are young people, we are not going to be misused. We are going to preach peace, and we want a responsible leadership. And leadership will not.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Philip.
Right.
Yes, thank you so much. Now, before we continue on with the conversation, remember the hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. If you have any questions for Mr. Philip with regard to the Vihiga County extravaganza, let us know on all media platforms. We'll be back after this.
Technologies grow, and so you need to be in the know. We bring you tech news from all over the world.
Me, I understand science revolves around life.
Tech policies and programs. Take on Tech has your back. Coming to your screens every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1. Join me, Stephanie Ayeta, and Grace Githaiga as we serve you with only the best tech updates the world over.
Mom!
Ask her to come out.
Mom, who are you asking us to see? Why so mysterious?
Yeah, what's up?
It's me. I'm Pinky.
I've lost a lot of precious things, but I don't know why. When I have to experience it again,
Jaribu usahau tabu zako zote na ujienjoy kwa hii dina.
Usiniambie hatuwezi kuwa hata na uhusiano wa kikazi tu peke yake.
Kate Lea ni mke wangu.
Kwa nini hukuniambia Laban? Ulikuwa na muda wa kutosha kunieleza mama.
Wakati huo ulikuwa wakati mgumu sana.
Ama wewe raha yako unioni tu mimi sina raha, si ndio?
Anayekukosesha raha sio mimi, ni wewe ulio wako.
Hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. Join us on our social media platforms. We're having an interview with the Chief Officer, Gender, Youth and Culture in Vihiga County, Mr. Philip Gavuna. And we were having a discussion about the Vihiga County Youth Extravaganza. Last year we had the first edition. This year we're having the second edition. Now, Mr. Gavuna, with regard to the second edition, we were talking about the reception that you've had with the public in terms of the turnout this year. Do you think last year's success is what, increased the turnout?
Yes, they did. And more importantly, what we did differently this year is we had a committee that ran last year's event. This time we went direct and got more involvement in the committee by ourselves. And interestingly, even the artists had to appoint a team that were to oversight the event. And that team became part of the organization of this event. So that is what really encouraged the artists, that they have a serious voice in the arrangements, and the transparency in terms of the utilization of the budget, and more than doubling the amount that was going to the awards. This is what, in my view, and I have had a lot of feedback from the artists themselves, that really has encouraged them to participate. The level of confidence in the event has been quite satisfactory, and I must thank them for having worked with the department.
There's also something that you said earlier on with regard to the musical artists who are participating within the Vihiga Youth Extravaganza, that they'll also receive musical recording opportunities and music videos as well.
Yes.
Are there any other opportunities further than that in terms of, supporting them and getting that exposure that they require?
Yeah, actually, other than recording, and just to demystify the aspect of recording, we approached all our studios because we wanted also to involve them as the locals of this county and being also in this art sector. And we invited them to give expressions of interest, to work with us, so that we are not leaving out any of them. And they were also very responsive. Other than the recording, if you look at the cash awards that we gave last event against what we're giving now, it is quite enhanced. So apart from the recording, we have also enhanced the cash awards. I talked about the minimum having been around 30,000. Now the highest then, but now the highest is 45,000, including the recording for the musicals. We have also included some disciplines like the models, because they were like, we are also artists. So we have looked at other aspects of really expanding based on the additional funding that we received. And I think it is much better. It is much better from the artist point of view, because this is the artist event. So this is how we have managed to make it a little bit better. And I think that's why the response is quite encouraging. And even the performances are quite high level.
Now, perhaps Mr. Mziki Eric, labda unaweza tuelezea what's next for Mr. Mziki Eric, and also, encouraging words for the participants of this year's edition.
Ambacho naweza nikaambia participants wa mwaka huu ni kwamba kama umeweza kushiriki kwa hii extravaganza, jua kwamba itaweza kusaidia pakubwa. Cha msingi hapa najua kwamba kila mtu hatakuwa winner, kutakuwa na wengine ambao watakuwa number 2, number 3, number 4. Watu wote ambao wameweza kushowcase kwenye hii extravaganza wataweza kufaidika, kwa maana unapokuwa kwenye platform kama hii hauwezi kujua ni nani anakuangalia pale. Unaweza kuwa kuna maproducer pale, kuna mapromoter pale. Sasa mimi naweza nikwambia kwamba yeyote ambaye ameweza kuparticipate kwenye hii platform ajue kwamba ataweza kusaidika, kwa maana hafla ambayo imejumuisha watu wengi, imeweza kusaidia kukutanisha wasanii, na ni kitu ambacho wasanii wanafaa kujivunia, kwa maana it's not all about winning, it's all about kupata ile platform, kujuana na watu, kuweza kumake hizo links. Najua kwamba KBC pia wako on ground, wataweza kuona ni kina nani wameweza kuperform vizuri, wanaweza kuwa hapo number 1, lakini kuna performance yake iliweza kufurahisha. Najua kwamba kuna vipaji vingi sana vitaweza kulelewa kutokana na extravaganza. Kwa hiyo watu wote ambao wameweza kuparticipate kwenye hii extravaganza ya huu mwaka, be sure kwamba wataweza kusaidika upande wa exposure. Yeah.
Asante sana, Mr. Eric. We wish you nothing but the very best. Also, Mr. Gavuna, before we wind up, probably you could, let us know what's next in terms of the progress and the youth in Vihiga County.
Thank you. What is next for the youth of Vihiga County is to get this bill approved by the County Assembly, because now that gives the vision, that gives the direction. And from where I sit, I want to just encourage the youths. This is a county initiative. Good, they have accommodated it, but it should not end there. Even from their end, let them stick together as artists of Vihiga. There's a lot they can attract if they work as a team. Make one organization of artists so that we have a bargaining power as a county. As the county supports, we attract partners to support the talent in Vihiga. And that is very possible because it all depends on, do we have a bargaining power as the youths? And this is actually my parting shot to them. I believe there's a lot that can be done from amongst themselves based on their organization, their arrangement, then the support of the county and other partners.
Thank you so much for joining us for that interview. That was Mr. Philip Gavuna. He's the Chief Officer, Department of Gender, Culture, Sports, Youth, Children, and Social Services in Vihiga County. A lot of big things are happening, like you've just heard, in Vihiga County. We'll be back after this.
Hivi kweli yupo mwenye neema kukushina, maana mie sijaona. Upendo gani upo radhi mwanao akufe, wakati unajua dhambi zangu naziponya. Oh, nihurumie tena, kujeluka acha kicheko cha enzi, hivi vyote ukafanya kuniponya. Oh, nihurumie. Unajua Mwenyezi wako najificha mimi, maana wendo mwamba ule mara unishikilie. Oh, umeniokoa mimi peke yangu siwezi, ya dunia mazito. Umeniokoa. Umenifanya niamini wewe upo. Wendo Bwana mabwana imekubali sifa zote kwako, njia salama nioneshe, uniongoze kwa masika najua, usiniache bado na kuhitaji, mbinu na bora kufuate, uniongoze. Poa kiwa ndani yako siwezi pata machungu. Poa umenjaza na imani. Unajua Mwenyezi wako najificha mimi, maana wendo mwamba ulo imara unishikilie. Oh, umeniokoa peke yangu siwezi, ya
better music.
Hata kurasa naandika na zisomeki, nipo radhi nitwe soba, penzi lake nimelewa viroba, yani koroma, mimi kwako sina choyo wala nongwa, sijiwezi, yeke wete nipini, apongo niondoke, ananipandisha vipi, mimi kwake sijiwezi furukuta mimi, nitalazwa. Lakini sasa nitalazwa, nitalazwa, lakini kana nitalazwa, nitalazwa, atakondesha vipi? No, 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 no. Nitalazwa, mama inoyo, nitalazwa, hey. Sema eti makofi yali, ila kwa viganja viwili mbele kwangu umeniteka mami, bila wewe siko kamili, kwa hiyo asali unayonipa mimi, kuchepuka tanzanye umbo la mdoli mixa mtanga kimbini, ukuwacha tanzanye wendo tabibu murwa wa maradhi yangu, sindano ni dongwe ya nini, unaridhika hata kwa chimbe ya dona mama, kwenye demi nitake nini, wendo tabibu mama wa maradhi yangu.
Welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. Remember the hashtag is Good Morning Kenya, hashtag Good Morning Kenya, and the handle of course is KBC Channel 1 TV on all social media platforms. Next up is a very interesting interview. We have a doctor in the house. I'm talking about Dr. Ogila. I hope I'm pronouncing this properly. I really hope so. Dr. Ogila Change.
Ogila Change, yes.
Did I pass?
You passed. But I'm used to getting change.
Thank you so much for coming through. Now let's talk about your journey into music. And before we even start, Dr. Ogila.
Yeah.
You decided to use that as the name, Yausani.
Actually, let me take you back. I've always used Ogila Change as my name. And then this previous time, I think I was with my PR people, and we'd gone somewhere in Malindi, and they had everybody calling me, hi, Daktari, hi, Daktari. They're like, wait, that's your name. That's part of you. You know, and then I decided to use it in this song. So I'm a doctor, PhD. I'm in academia. I'm really passionate about research, about education, so that is my line. And music has always been my passion. So that is where the name comes from.
That is where the name comes from. Now, in terms of music, one would ask, music is your passion.
Yes.
But you decided to pursue?
Yes.
So what happened?
You know, if you grew up during, in the 80s, when some of us were born, those days for parents, it was masomo, masomo, masomo.
The days Kwanza. When you were either a doctor, a lawyer,
Exactly. Ilikuwa masomo. Yes, you can sing, but your father and your mother want to understand umefika wapi kimasomo. So I was brought up in a very musical home, Christian home, born again home. So music was always playing in our house, always playing in our house. My father would even travel sometimes overseas and come with, those days hakukuwa na YouTube. So somebody had to physically bring a cassette. Maybe people don't understand that.
For those back at home, cassette tapes are things like CDs that you put somewhere in the radio.
Exactly. Somebody had to physically travel, bring back home a cassette, or you sit by the radio and wait for your favorite song to play. So, and then I remember, sometimes in the 90s, my dad traveled and he came back home with a guitar. And I was like, oh my God, we have a guitar at home. And then I learned a few keys. Still no YouTube, there was a book, Learn Guitar. I learned a few chords. So you'd find me at home after school playing a few chords and singing. But still, I was still singing in the house. I was still hiding. You know the way people sing in the shower? I hadn't, come out yet. Until upper primary, I had a very good music teacher who noticed that I had a talent. He had a guitar as well. So that's when I started playing in school. I had my own singing group. I think we were called Delice. It was initial. So D was my name. And we'd sing at the assembly and, very great memories. From then I transitioned to high school. And then I went to Pangani Girls High School. Oh my God, and the CU in that school. It still is because I'm part of the Alumni Association. So I know the CU, the Christian Union there is very, very active. I joined the choir. I became the choir mistress. I was very active in the CU. And that's where now my music blossomed. That's where I realized I could write music. Before that, I was just listening to people's music. In fact, my previous single that I released, which is part of my second album, May I Live to Love You, I wrote that song when I was in Form 1. And so recording it late last year and, shooting the video, it was just a full circle moment of, I wrote this song when I was in Form 1, and now it's an actual song. It's out here, it's on YouTube, and, amazing memories. So that's how my journey has been. Of course, I've always been very active in church, singing in church. I sing with my siblings and, on stage. And, it has taken a whole community to nurture my musical career. But then the question you asked, which I think I haven't answered, I had to pursue my education first. That's just how we were brought up at home. Masomo mbele kwanza. And so I finished high school, went to campus, did my bachelor's, finished my master's. Then I remember after completing my doctorate, my dad was at my graduation party. Actually, we lost him last year, but now this is 2019 when I was graduating, and he told me, my daughter, you have done everything. Okay, sasa umesoma. Nataka sasa uimbe. Now you have the permission to sing. And of course, I'd been trying before that, but juggling everything wasn't really easy. Juggling everything, juggling masomo, family, nini wasn't really easy. But when it's a calling, it doesn't go away. You try to suppress it, it comes up. You try to suppress it comes up.
I think what I would really want to know is, when you finally got that opportunity to pursue your passion.
Yeah.
How did it feel?
It felt great. I remember trying to sing when I was I think just after high school. And, you don't have a job. Your parents are busy paying school fees for your siblings and even for yourself. I remember that time to record an album, I needed, I think it was 80,000 shillings. And, oh my God, that was a lot of money then. Even now, it's still a lot of money. But that time, I'm a Form 4 leaver that time. And I was very passionate about it. So I went from relative to relative to relative. Fine, I didn't complete the album then, but I recorded a few singles. So what I can say now, it's easier now when now, I have a job, I can pay for the music, and I understand because the previous guest who was here on stage was saying the way music, just like any other business, requires a lot of investment. It takes your money before it can give you money. So for me now, it's a bit easier because I'm at a place where I can comfortably do the music. But
do you feel like it's the financial security that led you to feel like maybe I should?
No.
Now is the time. Because this other side was already sorted.
As I said before, when it's a calling, it does, and it's not easy even now. By the way, when I started singing, I thought, okay, I have the talent, I have the beautiful voice. God has called me to do this. It's going to be easy. I'll just release this single and I'll get 1 million subscribers. And that's what I thought. Then when I came to do the real work, I noticed, no, it's not that easy. It takes a lot of persistence, a lot of work, a lot of prayer, a lot of marketing, a lot of, even for me to be here, I'm really grateful for this opportunity. But it's not easy. Whether you have the money now to do it, it still requires a lot of work and a lot of persistence. Otherwise, and I think that's why so many people give up, because they're like, "Hey, this is too much work. This is too much work." Yeah.
What about the people within the industry? Like you said earlier, earlier, you've had a lot of people, mentor you.
Yes.
Within the gospel music scene.
Yes, yes.
Who has led you? Who held your hand and was like,
I remember because now I've just completed recording my second album, and my first one was completed in 2016. So it's also taken a gap. Those are around 6 years. And I remember my first album, I met a great gentleman called RK. I know now he's out of the country, but Mwanabuja then. And he would be like, we can do this. Go home, write. Encouragement. I'd worked with other producers before, but I'd never encountered such encouragement. And sometimes God places such people in your path for, just to guide you. And then I've worked with, just other musicians. Right now I'm working with a producer called Ihaji. I mean, sometimes I get into the studio, we still don't have a song, but we will stay there for 6 hours. By the time we are leaving, the music is done or almost done. I'm also working with a great team of songwriters as well, and there are musicians also who've gone before me. I mean, they're legends. There are people like Kambua. I look up to her. There's Rebecca Dawn. There's Joyce Omondi. So those are people who have gone through, have paved the way, have made things easier. And I mean, sometime back, local music wasn't really the thing, even on our media spaces. But right now, because of the hard work that they have done, we had Akina Angela Chibalonza, Mary Atieno, Ruben Kigame, those are people who, John Dews, Munishi, I can go on and on. But they created a great path for us. They made things easier for us. That now we can just come, do our song, and there's already an audience, waiting, for your music. So things have gotten easier. That's true.
You've had the mentors, you've had that opportunity to work with all these great producers.
Yes.
What about the challenges that you faced so far?
Yeah.
What are the challenges?
Wow. Challenges are there. First, let me say, even just to put your music out there requires a lot of output, a lot of work. There are things you have to do. You have to invest for your song to be out there. Secondly, I mean, we just came from a pandemic, and most of us gospel musicians, actually all musicians were affected because the gospel ones, where were we performing? Churches, and we had our gigs after church and our concerts. But now with COVID, things were dead for like 2 years. So now we are coming up. So those are some challenges that we had never foreseen. And then there's also, there's been a shift of many gospel artists from the gospel circle into the secular circle. And this is something I am determined to change, because people keep saying there's no money in gospel music. But I think not all gospel musicians are broke. In the world.
It's very funny you say that, because I remember times RK.
Yeah.
When he was within the country, he used to say gospel musicians are earning more.
Yeah.
So what shifted from your perspective?
Probably the secular ones are earning now more. Maybe things have changed. There are more gigs, there are more. I think at that time, the secular world was not as active as it is now. We are having less gigs for the gospel artists, and most of the gigs sometimes are free. The gospel artists.
That is something very controversial.
The gospel artists, unafanya kazi ya Mungu.
That is, so many gospel artists that I've talked to.
Yeah.
Especially the worship gospel artists, because there's a big difference.
Yes.
There's the pop gospel artists.
That's true.
Than the worship gospel artists.
Yes.
The worship gospel artists, the main thing that I normally hear financially.
Yes.
Yeah. They're being told once you're at the event.
Yeah.
But you're doing ministry.
You're doing ministry. Yeah, we're looking at.
Have you ever had such an encounter?
Actually, for me, it's the other way around. For a long time, I would just say I would do it for free. I would do it for free because number one, for a long time I wasn't looking at music as something I was doing full time. I was looking at it as giving back. But then I realized along the way, for my product to be valued, I have to put a price on it. if you're having a gig and I tell you I'm coming to sing for free, kuna vile you won't value me. Like the artist will tell me, give me 200K for me to perform. So I realized along the way that what I was doing was a mistake. I was underpricing my product. So I started now giving it a price. And I think also it depends with your niche and depends with your market. There's a place when I go, I know what I will charge. There's a place when, I mean, it's not a constant. And I'm still growing. I haven't reached where I want to be. Kuna time itafika, labda.
I like that you said that. Now let's talk about Dr. Dorothy.
Doris.
Doris,
Yeah.
my apologies for that. Dr. Doris, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Wow.
As an artist.
Okay.
Yeah.
I look at Kenya and beyond. You know, if you, and I'm saying this to encourage other artists who could probably be listening, or somebody who's looking at getting into the market, Kenya is too small. Kenya is too small. But first you have to win Kenya for you to make it internationally. You know, you must start from home. Your people must accept you and welcome you and love you, and then send you out as an ambassador. So first, I look at, but Kenya is a small market. You can't be, you can't be satisfied with a small market like Kenya. If you look at, I mean, look at the US. It's a huge, huge space. Look at Nigeria. Those are, I mean, once you get that population, once you get that fan base, you're out there. You know. So in 10 years, I'm looking at the international market. That's my final.
Let me ask you, do you feel like the Kenyan market, because you just mentioned, you know, all these various countries within Africa, and we've seen their level of success. There's been conversations, you know, people saying, can we really match that level of success? It's not just, you know, within the gospel scene, it's also secular. Do you think us as a country, we can facilitate that growth to make an artist, you know?
Yes, we can. And even I think now we have some record labels, international record labels that are based within our country. We just need to take our time to give our best. Sometimes we as artists, we just put out some two-liners and
because I saw what you just did. And is there an example of something that you saw and you were like, is this really gospel?
They're there, but you know, I don't want to mention names. They're there, but we need to. The music I was writing 5 years ago or 6 years ago, it's not the music I'm writing now. Now I'm even using help. I'm using songwriters, people who, I mean, professionals who are doing it. And we have to be prepared to invest for us to match what those other countries are doing. We can't just be, because there's so much music. But how many songs, when you switch on your radio, how many songs do you listen to that you remember, wow? I mean, that stop you, like when you're in traffic, you're like, okay, wow, I really want to listen to that.
Is there a particular song that you feel resonates with you like that? That you know,
like nikisikia nasimama. Of course, kama kuna Kambua song, Mungu wa rehema yangu, Mungu wa furaha yangu. I mean, you clearly tell whoever wrote the song sat down and really it wasn't written in 2 minutes. It was real work, and there are several others. That's what has just come into my head. And we have to learn to do that as an industry for us to, because it's, you know, I tell my kids, because they go to international schools, so I tell them, you're not competing with your fellow classmate for that university spot. You're competing with a child who's in the US, who's in the UK, who's in South Africa for that university spot. So we as Kenyans, you're not competing with the next musician, the next door. Because this is an international space. The entertainment space is international. So we have to be ready to give it our best. We have to be ready to give it our best.
I love that when you say that, you know, you're supposed to look at it from the international perspective, not just localized. And that might actually be, you know, I think you solved 10 years, you know, a problem that has been bugging us for 10 years within that particular industry. Look internationally.
Yes.
That's
very
powerful.
Important.
Any message that you might have for?
Another thing, if just speaking to the gospel artists, listen to God. I realize it's not about me. It's really not about me. if it was about me, I would have stopped, because there are days, I mean, I have a busy day, but I have to, go and record a song or pass by KBC or post a song and it doesn't get as much traction as I expected. It's not about me. I'm a vessel. God is just using me to reach his people. Yeah. So it stops being about you. So that's encouragement I can give someone who's in the gospel space. So don't be discouraged. If one person is touched with that music, God's work is done.
Thank you so much for coming through, Doctor.
Thank you.
We'll be back after this.
Hii kwenye mkulima tutatayarisha sausages za uyoga.
Hizi sausage ninatengeneza vegetarians, watu wenye wana choose kutokula nyama. I also made them for people who eat, wenye hawakuli nyama juu inawaharibikia.
Kisha tuangalie mashine 2-3 ambazo urahisisha kazi ya mkulima.
Share tractor ilianza kama project. Watu watafuta mbinu ya kupunguza utumizi wa wanyama ama kutumia binadamu kama chombo cha kulima shamba na kufanya kazi ya machinery kwa shamba.
Ungana nasi Jumapili saa 9:30 hapa KBC Channel 1 kwa uhondo kamili.
Remember that where there was fire, ashes remain.
Yes, but she's in love with someone else.
With whom you forced her to get married.
You're a murderer. My father died and it was all your fault.
I didn't kill your father. You're crazy.
I am not crazy.
Move away.
He's your son. Don't you treat him like that. I will protect you.
You know that I'll ruin you if I open my mouth.
Our dad ordered you to leave him, but you're rolling in the hay with him.
Just leave us alone. You know you never change.
I'm sure that their love won't last too long. It's
Jaribu usahau tabu zako zote na ujienjoy kwa hii dini.
Usiniambie hatuwezi kuwa hata na uhusiano wa kikazi tu peke yake.
Kate Lea ni mke wangu.
Kwa nini hukuniambia Laban? Ulikuwa na muda wa kutosha kunieleza mama.
Wakati huo ulikuwa wakati mgumu sana.
Ama wewe raha yako ni tu mimi sina raha, si ndio?
Anayekukosesha raha sio mimi, ni wewe ulio wako.
Uwezo wako, uwepo wako zimenijaa Baba, nimeuona mkono wako, uwezo wako unanifaa Baba, haujawahi kuchelewa, wajibu kwa wakati, tena nahisi unanielewa, unami kila kati, haujawahi kuchelewa, wajibu kwa wakati, tena nahisi unanielewa. Nashukuru kwa yote ulionipa. sitoboi bila we, siogopi niko na we, tena siondoki mimi na we, mwenye busara osana we, haujawahi kuchelewa, wajibu kwa wakati, tena nahisi unanielewa, kwa yote ulonipa, uwezo ulonipa, kwa nguvu ulonipa, nashukuru kwa yote ulonipa, uwezo ulonipa, kwa nguvu ulonipa, nashukuru. Bila wewe siwezi, bila wewe siwezi, uwe mwokozi wangu mimi siwezi, bila wewe siwezi, bila wewe siwezi, bila wewe siwezi, uwe mwokozi wangu mimi siwezi, bila wewe siwezi, kwa yote ulonipa, uwezo ulonipa, kwa nguvu ulonipa, nashukuru kwa yote ulonipa, uwezo ulonipa, kwa nguvu ulonipa, nashukuru.
Made it.
Good morning. This is still Good Morning Kenya right here on KBC Channel 1, and I'm Regina Manyara. Now I want to take you to the Kenyatta International Convention Center, where our reporter Adan Mohammed is covering the Secretariat, the Azimio Secretariat meeting, where we expect that the President Uhuru Kenyatta is going to be attending. And also in attendance is none other than Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka and Martha Karua. Assalamu alaikum, Adan Mohammed. How are you?
Thank you very much, Regina.
Thank you very much, Regina. We are live at KICC. This morning, leaders of Azimio, they are holding a meeting at KICC. They are meeting Azimio secretariats on plan how to do the 2022 campaign. Those leaders at the moment we have seen in the meeting is President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is the coalition party chairman, Raila Amolo Odinga, who is the party leader, Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua. Other leaders were Hassan Joho, governor of Mombasa, and Junet Mohammed. At the moment, we didn't know what they are discussing about it, but what we have confirmed that they are discussing about a strategic plan on how to do campaign for Azimio. Back to studio, Regina.
from the ground, do you think this is where we are going to finally get some information in regard to what plans have been put in place, especially where, you know, the deputy, rather the running mate in as far as Azimio is concerned, and also we have been having a push and pull within the Wiper camp in regard to, you know, the peak for the deputy president, or rather the running mate, with now the Martha Karua push also by delegates, women delegates within the Azimio camp. Do you think that this is one of the conversations that likely this secretariat is going to be having today?
At the moment, we cannot. At the moment, we cannot be able to tell you, but what I assure you is that it is the headache within the Azimio that they are trying to talk about who's going to be running mate. But for now, I cannot be able to confirm you. But those issues might be. It is in the talk, but what we have confirmed is about strategic. They are meeting the secretariats on how to do the campaign for 22. But if anything more, I think after that meeting, might be they are going to brief us. You see from that side, the leaders they are in that meeting, they're in that hall. Up to now, they're in that hall, but still we have not yet confirmed. But they are telling us that immediately after that meeting, they are going to give us more details on whether they are going to discuss about nomination primary, because you remember there was a lot of issues that has been happening across the country, and you know the IBC has given the deadline, I think on 14th of this month, for all the political parties to submit the names of their candidate. But that one, I think we are going to give you immediately after they are going to give us a brief on what they are going to discuss about it. Go back to the studio, Regina.
Aden, can you confirm the attendance of Kalonzo Musyoka, the Wiper leader, as well as Martha Karua in this particular meeting? Are they in attendance?
I think I have seen coalition party leader Uhuru Kenyatta, and I have seen party leader Mr. Honorable Raila Odinga, and then other members. I've seen Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua. Those are the guys which have already confirmed they're in that meeting, including the secretarial team, Junet Mohammed, and Governor of Mombasa, Hassan Joho. More details, I think we are going to give you after they're coming out from that brief. Back to the studio.
Giving us that brief. Indeed, we are going to be watching on the outcomes of that particular council meeting at a time when the primaries deadline is already inching away. We have seen push and pull within both camps, UDA as well as Azimio. In this particular meeting, we are very expectant to see on, maybe updates in regard to, consensus that is going. They're working on consensus, I know, in Ugenya constituency there. They're also going to be a repeat nomination, or rather party primaries, to be held in Gem, while at the same time ODM is yet to give a ticket, or rather issue a ticket in Kuria East and Kuria West. Those are just some of the updates and the developments we'll be looking out for. Maybe this particular meeting that is going to give direction on the way forward. Quoted even in the dailies this morning is Clifford Otieno, who is a lawyer who has just gotten into the conversation in regard to how ODM conducted its primaries and is still doing. And he's been quoted there saying that there are certain things that Riley cannot do as a person because he has a lot on his table. And that is where the likes of Junet, whom he trusts most, comes in. Well, we'll be keeping tabs on that. But for now, we speak Matters Entertainment. Doreen.
Right, and now back to Matters Entertainment. My guest is actually ready on set. I'm talking about Damian Sanya, referred to as Diamond wa Kenya. Why do they give you that name?
Siwezi kujua ni kwa nini, kwa sababu maybe waliona hivyo, lakini mimi mwenyewe siwezi kusema nafanana kwa sababu mimi sijijui. Kwa kama unasema hivyo
hivi basi mbona ujijui? Mtu anafaa kujijua.
Sasa mimi siwezi kuamka leo nikasema namfanana. Maana sijioni.
Okay.
So watu wakisema maybe inaweza kuwa. Yeah.
Watu wakasema, yani walikuwa na TV kama Damian, wakasema basi Damian anaweza kuwa Diamond wa Kenya. Pia muziki wake ni wa kibongo style.
Yeah, mimi naweza sema maybe tunafanana kwenye kazi.
Kikazi lakini si kisura, si kimaadili.
Mambo mengine, tabia na nini.
Hiyo nyingine umesema wewe ni Damian, yeye ni Diamond.
Yeye ni Diamond, yeah.
Lakini kikazi ndo kidogo
tuko pamoja.
Okay. Tuambie Damian Senya ni nani?
Mimi ni msanii, nafanya muziki mzuri na mimi ni Mkenya. Watu wanatofautisha sana unajua. Mimi ni Mkenya, nazaliwa Kitale. Nimelelewa huko Kitale, nimesoma huko na kila kitu, so nikakuja Nairobi kwa ajili ya hustlings. Na nikaanza music sasa officially. Yeah.
So muziki ulianzia hapa Nairobi?
Muziki nilianza nikiwa mdogo sana. Sasa tuseme
kwa nini wasanii jamani wanapenda kusema unajua muziki nilianza nikiwa pale nyumbani, nikiwa mtoto mdogo sana, nikiwa pale kwa mama na baba. Yaani usanii unaanza tu ukiwa pale mdogo?
Yeah, of course, mtu ambaye ana real talent kabisa. Haifai kuwa ilikuja kama mtu mzima. Hiyo itakuwa labda umesomea vitu vingine na hiyo sioni kama itakuwa sawa. So most of sisi mimi kwanza nilianza kitambo sana. Nilikuwa napenda kucheza hizi gitaa za kujitengezea. Na drums hizi za kujitengezea na kuimba. So ilianza kitambo sana, lakini sasa unajua some background haikuwa nzuri, so wazazi labda wanaona labda ni ujinga na nini. So wakati umekuwa mtu mkubwa ndio unaona unaweza kufanya kitu, so unakuwa serious nayo.
Okay. So tuseme ulianzia pale Kitale. But this was not professionally.
Ilikuwa local tu.
Ilikuwa local tu. Kwa hivyo kuna wakati ambapo umefanya muziki pale Kitale ama sasa professionally umeanzia hapa Nairobi?
Professionally kabisa nimeanza hapa Nairobi, maana ndio nimerekodi ngoma ya kwanza on 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
Na pia that's the time ulianza kufanya muziki professionally 2019.
Yeah, sasa kurekodi sasa ngoma zangu. Maana hizo zilikuwa ni ngoma za watu, ile kujifunza pia.
Covers.
Yeah.
Zilikuwa covers.
Like
kujifunza. Imekuwa vipi since 2019 up until now?
Imekuwa poa, kwanza namshukuru Mungu kwa kila kitu. Maana nafikiri music ndio inaniweka mimi hapa Nairobi na ndio inaendesha vitu vyangu vingine. Hata kama siko ukubwa sana, lakini nasema sio mbaya. Nashukuru Mungu kwa kile ambacho niko nacho na vile naendelea sasa hivi.
Umesema hapo awali umesema kwamba kidogo haikuwa rahisi ukianza. Story yako ni gani? Because every artist, by the way, and I keep saying kila msanii either ikuwe ni wa muziki wa gospel, when you are secular, ikuwe mtu anafanya tu arts, kuchora. Yani the arts industry, and particularly performing arts, dance, music, is not an easy industry. Na kila msanii ako na story. And for every artist, it's a different story. Yako ni gani?
Mimi naweza sema ni, you know, like I'm from the poor background. Kwa hiyo nafikiri hiyo ndio ilikuwa changamoto sana ya kupata hata kufanya nyimbo, kufanya marketing, promotions na vitu vingine. Kwa hiyo inabidi umestruggle sana kwa kupata hizo vitu. Na hizo ni nafikiri vitu na happen kwa watu wengi, kwa sababu mimi nafikiri, kwa mimi ninavyofikiria, sisi watu ambao tuko na talent, ama sisi watu ambao tunajisukuma na talent, ina maana sisi hatuna kitu kingine. Mungu hawezi kukupatia talent na labda kwenye mnajiweza sana na vitu vingine, japo kuna talent na pia wanajiweza kwa wanajipromote. Kwa mimi naona kama inakuwa gani ukipatiwa talent au kuangalia labda uko sawa sana. Kwa hiyo ni ungangane, utumie venye utaitumia, utoke nayo, ndo at least change background na familia na vitu vingine. Kwa hiyo hizo changamoto zinatokea sana ni ukosefu wa maybe pesa za vitu kama hizo, na pia platform na nini. Kwa hiyo mimi nafikiri na ndio sababu.
Basi umejituma sana, najua naona pale social media uko na followers, umetoa nyimbo kadhaa. Ulijiekaje to that position? Because in music kuna the talent bit, the way unasema, then kuna the business side. Unapata wasanii wengi sana, they always miss that business side and they rely heavily on their talent.
Kwanza kabisa mimi naweza nikasema kwa mimi ni kufocus. Mimi nilikuwa mtu wa kufocus sana kwa sababu sina kitu kingine zaidi ya talent. Kwa hiyo ilibidi ni focus sana na muziki. Yaani vitu vingine vyote sikuwa nafanya. Kama kijana, sinywi pombe, sivuti bangi, sifanye nini. Hizo vitu zinaweza kupoteza. Kwa hiyo mimi sikuwa nafanya kitu chochote. Ni music, vile natafuta platform na kufanya hustlings na kupata pesa, recording na nini. Na kuwa serious pia na kufanya kazi mzuri. Kwa hiyo naweza sema hiyo ndio imenisaidia, at least watu wananiamini na wananisupport. Kwa sababu niko serious kabisa nafanya kitu kizuri. Maana naamini hivyo.
Unaamini hivyo. So tuongelee hapo kidogo hapo story ya finances na sources, because unasema kwamba wewe ulienda kufanya hustling, doing different things just to get money ndio uweze ipump kwa music. Do you feel like wasanii wengi the business side ndio inawa let down sana? Jumtu anasema mimi niko na talanta. Yes, na understand kuna a lot of challenges just the way you're mentioning. Yes. But your understanding the business side of art. Is it one thing that wasanii wengi sana wana miss kuelewa?
Yeah. Kwa sababu unajua music ni kitu nataka uwekeze pesa. Kwa hiyo inafaa side hustle na mimi nafikiria hata kama tunaona mfano kwa wasanii wakubwa kabisa.
Yes.
Hata kama bado kwa music lakini amefungua vitu vingine vingi vya kusaidia hustles. Kwa hivyo watu wanafeli kwa sababu mtu akishajua kuna talent ni kuchill sasa na freestyle kuimba afikiri vinya atatafuta labda side hustle ama vitu vingine kwa kuinvest kwa kumpush zaidi. Kwa hiyo inafelisha pia. Yeah.
So where I mean just looking at your story, did you have to look for what when you already were they had gone before you, ahead of you to sort of like guide you? Ama ulisema tu mimi ningangane tu mimi kama Damian ngangane tu na hustle zangu, ni shoot video, nitafute promoters, marketers, you know, TV presence, interviews?
Kwanza mimi mwenyewe ni mchizi kwanza kivyangu. Yaani mimi mwenyewe sio kusema ati mpaka nitegemea mtu, nione mtu ndio mimi na mimi nifanye. Hiyo ni kwanza, lakini hauwezi kwanza kufanya kitu tu. Maana hivi vitu vipo. Huwezi toka na kitu yako from nowhere. Lazima uwe na mtu ambaye unaangalia na ni mtu ambaye ako juu. Sababu mimi siwezi kwanza kuangalia wasanii wenye tuko na bishana huko ushago. Haiwezi kunisaidia chochote. Kwa hiyo unaangalia mtu ambaye amemake vizuri na ako juu, ndio at least ufuate steps zake. Kwa hivyo hiyo iko hivyo.
Kwako huyo msanii ni nani ambaye ulikuwa unaangalia ufuate steps zake? Na kwa nini?
Mimi naangalia wasanii wengi. Maybe sasa unajua kuna Kenya, kuna Afrika, kuna hivyo. Kwa hiyo Kenya naangalia Nyashinski. Yeah. Afrika naangalia Diamond na Dunia pia.
Ndio maana wakasema Diamond wa Kenya. Ni nini haswa kwa wasanii unaona unasema yani kuna kitu naweza iga kutoka kwa wasanii? Nyuma toka kutaja.
Tuanze tu na Diamond moja kwa moja. Kwanza napenda anavyofanya anavyojituma kwanza. Unajua unaweza kuwa na channel lakini hauifanyi kazi kama haujitumi, ufanye vitu vingi kwa unapata kama ikusaidia sana. Mimi napenda anavyojituma na napenda pia kuona timu yake. Unajua si yeye peke yake. Napenda kuangalia pia timu yake vile wanavyojituma na mimi siku moja nikiwa na uwezo nikuwa na timu kama hiyo. Na muziki wake, type ya muziki wake vile anafanya napenda. Kwa hiyo nafikiri naangalia sana nyendo zake kwa sababu kweli kabisa ni msanii ametoboa sana kiasi kikubwa sana. Na hiyo ifichiki. So unajua huwezi kukua umekaa pete unaanza kuangalia mtu mwenye hajafanikiwa chochote. Haiwezekani. Unaangalia mtu ako juu kabisa ndio at least hata ukibishana hata usipomfikia at least utakuwa pale juu.
Jana kuza hilo swali kwa sababu unapata wengi wanasema kwamba wasanii wa siku hizi hiyo ndio kitu moja ambao iko in lack. Hawana mentors, hawana mtu ambaye wanaweza angalia, mtu wa kuwa guide. Alafu unapata sana wasanii wengi wamereleve. Tumesema tu mimi najua niko na talanta na watu kwa mtaa yangu ama kwa village wananiambia unajua uko na talanta. Sasa na stick sana tu kwa talent mpaka nasahau kwamba kuna the business side of doing music. Mwangalia Nyashinski pia. Tueleze ni kwa nini mwangalia Nyashinski? Because pia napata wasanii wengi sana kwanza wasaizi wanasema Nyashinski ndio yule msanii mwenye amejireinvent. Yaani yeye haishi. Alikuwa pale like almost 20 years or even 15 years ago. Amerudi ni kama
fresh.
Very fresh. Yes.
Mimi nafikiri yote kati ya kujitafuta. Unajua kwanza kuanza kufanya music kwanza unafaa ujitafute mwenyewe uko wapi. Mimi kwanza nikianza muziki nilikuwa na rap. Nilikuwa na chana mbaya sana lakini nikafikiria nikaona mimi kama iko rap mbona kama ni fit. So nikajaribu kuangalia, alafu unajua nitegemea pia na muziki. Hapa kwetu tuongee tu kweli, sidhani kama rap inauza sana kama just a good music ile tu yani
kama in the west.
Kwa hiyo yeye kwanza hata ile kuquit nafikiri kwa anajitafuta kwa sababu zile style zao zile za kitambo zilikuwa zimeanza kufeli. Zilikuwa kufade hivi. Kwa hiyo akatulia akakaa chini akajitafuta. Ndio maana akakuja kama hata anashinda wasanii sisi wenye akili bado iko fresh. Kwa hivyo mimi napenda kwanza vinye yako amejitafuta na amejua ako hapa na ako na msimamo. Mtu wako kusikia Nyashinski ameanza leo amefanya sijui kitu sijui ngoma za type gani leo yako kwa yake na amesimama hapo. Na sio mtu unajua kuna wasanii mtu anatoa ngoma like almost kila wiki anatoa ngoma. Yaani ngoma na hata content kidogo imeisha. Lakini yeye akitoa ngoma moja hata kama ni kwa mwaka kama kwa miaka ngoma 2 lakini ni ngoma yenye ita last na ni ngoma yenye itakaa kwa muda na in hit. Kwa hivyo lazima mtu kama huyo nifuatilie.
David, unaongelea Nyashinski that regard that anatoa ngoma moja anakaa kidogo ameshika line yake, lakini kuna wengine watasema kwamba diversity pia ni important. Wewe ni msanii haswa wa bongo style. Kuna mwingine atakwambia ukitoa ngoma za bongo pia toa kidogo za kapuka, toa kidogo za genge, like diversity ni muhimu. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I really agree with that. Mimi kwanza saizi nimetoka hapa jana usiku. Nafikiri na macho zangu nimekuwa location nikishoot video ya gospel.
Na wewe ni msanii wa secular.
Ndio najaribu kuleta hapo sasa.
Okay.
Na kwanza ni gospel like worship. Kwa hivyo type of music haijalishi. Inategemea utadeliver kivipi. Yeah.
Wataoni kama hivyo una confuse watu wanakufuata kama sasa wewe umetoka kushoot music ya gospel na tutaisikia lakini tunakujua kama msanii wa secular. Kidogo uone kama ina confuse fans.
Haiwezi confuse chochote. Kwanza inaniongezea fans. Na inaonyesha inapea mafans wangu nguvu kwamba kumbe this guy even kama anaimba hizi mambo za hizi zingine huku bado anamjua Mungu, bado anamheshimu Mungu. Na pale kwa mafans wangu mimi najua kuna watu wameokoka. Kwa hiyo mimi nikiwapatia hata gospel hata kama ni wachache sioni kama ni ubaya wote. Alafu kwa watu wenye wameokoka pia watakuja. Kwa hivyo mimi nafikiri kuchanganya bora unafanya kitu kina make sense.
Okay.
Mimi nafikiri kuchanganya hiyo ni kuongeza tu fan base, kuingia huku kwa sababu mimi sasa hizo tutakunita concert perform, si niko na ngoma. Nita perform kwa church, nita perform kwa club. Kwa hiyo mimi naona kama hiyo ni kuendelea kujipanua tu. Haina ubaya wote hapo.
Tuangalie style yako, bongo style. Why of all the styles like the ones tumetoka hata kumention tu saa hizi, why bongo?
Mimi nafikiri
Jupia ulianza ukiwa rapper by the way.
Yeah. Sasa ndio kujitafuta. Unajua mimi niliangalia nikaona muziki yenye nauzika kwa urahisi na kwa kiasi kubwa.
Kwa hivyo wewe you after news business money.
Of course. Unajua wewe kwanza kunafanya tu kitu yenye haina faida yoyote.
Si lakini unajua nasema kwamba unajua usanii kwanza nipende, napenda hii usanii.
Sasa ndio nilipenda.
So ikijipa isijipe jamani mimi napenda usanii.
Sasa kwa nafanya hivyo ndio maana hiyo sasa ndio usanii wa hovyo.
Okay.
Sasa hiyo ijipe isijipe kwanza hiyo unajua sasa hata utatia bidii. Maana wewe uko kwa ijipe isijipe. Kwanza unafanya unajitafuta. Unajua mimi niko hapa. Endea sasa unaweka effort hapo. So mimi niliona muziki ya Kiswahili ambayo inaitwa bongo sijui. Kwanza kila mtu anasikia. Si kama rap. Unajua rap kuna vitu na rap hata mpaka maneno zinapita watu kabisa.
Tatuelewe unasema nini?
Kwa mimi nikaona mbona nisiimbe tu kitu yenye mama, mtoto, mtu amesoma, hajasoma, wote watasikia. Nikaona acha nikuja na hii at least, lakini nimeona kweli inanipeleka penye nataka. Yeah.
So and that is the style that sasa umedecide hata gospel yako ni gospel in line with bongo style.
Yeah.
Okay. So kila kitu yako tu ni style ya bongo.
Yeah.
Now think of changing it to any other style.
Unajua kwanza bongo, unajua bongo ni nini? Bongo nafikiri watu wajua. Bongo ni Kiswahili kama watu wajui. Kwa hivyo ndio maana ngoma nakwambia ni gospel lakini Kiswahili. Yaani kitu yote ambacho ni Kiswahili ni bongo. So mimi mbona nafanya hata mpaka R&B's lakini Kiswahili. So ni bongo lakini ndio maana unaona hata mtu kama Diamond kwa ngoma zake zinapatikana kwa chati ya Afro huko. Lakini anaimba na Kiswahili. So ni inategemea ameimba Kiswahili kwa type gani. Sasa kuna type ya Afro lakini anapiga na Kiswahili. Ndio maana ngoma zinapatikana kwenye chati huko. Kwa hivyo bongo ni Kiswahili lakini muziki nafanya yote. Hata kurap mtarap tu lakini Kiswahili. Ninyi mnasikia.
Tukimalizia very quickly Damian, what next for you kama msanii? What next for you kama msanii, projects?
Sasa simekwambia kwanza nimelala location.
So unaendelea tu kutuletea ngoma projects hapa na pale?
Yeah, of course kuna projects zikuja nyingi sana, collab na nini, kwa hiyo watu waendelee kunifuatilia.
Watu waendelee kufuatilia.
Yeah.
Unapatikana wapi katika mitandao ya kijamii?
Mimi napatikana kila mahali, napatikana YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, kama Damian Sanya.
Okay. Yeah. Watakufuata huko.
Yeah.
Pate muziki yako na content yako huko.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Damian Sanya. That has been our last guest this Thursday morning, and that is actually where we bring this show and conversation to a close today. From me and on behalf of the entire team, we say thank you so much for watching. I'm Doreen Arange Okello. Till next week, have a beautiful Thursday morning.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi wassalatu wassalam ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin, amma ba'd. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdata min lisani yafqahu qawli. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending salutation to our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, my brothers and sisters in Islam who are watching, welcome to a new episode on advice of how to spend our Ramadan. Hadith is being narrated by Abu Huraira radiyallahu anhu. He says, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من لم يدع قول زورا أو عمل به فليس لله حاجة بأن يدع طعامه وشرابه. Abu Huraira narrates and says that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, من لم يدع قول زورا, whoever is not going to abstain from vain talks, whoever is not going to abstain from useless talks, وَالْعَمَلَ بِهِ, and useless actions and vain actions, the Prophet says, فَلَيْسَ لِلَّهِ حَاجَةٌ, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is of no need of this servant, بِأَنْ يَدَعَ شَرَابَهُ, for this person to leave his drink, أَوْ طَعَامَهُ, or his food. مُتَّفَقٌ عَلَيْهِ. The hadith is agreed upon. Look at what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says. Yes, you might be fasting, but if you do not abstain from useless talk, music, from useless actions, my brother, my sisters, gambling, from useless talk, backbiting, from vain actions, seeing, watching, listening to things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not pleased with them, then the Prophet ﷺ says that Allah is of no need of you to leave your drink, to leave your food because of this. So does the hadith tells us then if I'm engaging into these actions, then I should not fast? No. Basically what the hadith is trying to tell us here is the greatness of someone who is fasting and indulges into haram things, that indeed you are punishing yourself. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to reward you, but the reward is not going to be the same as that person who utilizes his time very well. Try to picture, try to imagine, my sister, my brother. You spend from after Dhuhr all the way to Asr listening to music, watching movies, gambling, backbiting, and another sister of yours, another brother of yours spends the same time reciting the Holy Quran, spends the same time bringing adhkar, spends the same time supplicating, bringing repentance to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you think the reward is going to be the same? No, it's not going to be the same. It's the holy month of Ramadan that we have to refrain. The holy month is here to train us how we have to live. The holy month is here with us to teach us, to give us the tips of life, to remind us what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala requires from me and you.